Scene here, going to be here for a little bit longer now, trying to piece together exactly what happened here. But again, we do know that 2 people are confirmed dead as a result of this house fire. Of course, as soon as we get any more information, we'll bring it right to you. Jasmine.
All right, Kim, thanks. A sad story here out of Southwest Atlanta. We'll check in with you a little bit later this morning for any updates there. Again, 2 dead in an early morning fire. Let's go ahead and take a live look outside this morning and talk a little bit about weather. We know it's going to be pretty hot today, and it was hot yesterday. I hope you got outside and enjoyed some of that weather. Our meteorologist Alex Forbes joins us now to talk about these sweltering temperatures.
Yeah, so and that's the key. Through the overnight, we didn't cool down a whole lot. Only got down to 79. It's already back to 80 in Atlanta right now, and we are going to just stay there and stay there and stay there some more. So let's do it here through the afternoon. My golden rule: if you're going to fly, this is the time of day to fly. As we look live over Hartsfield Jackson in the summertime, of course, we get the showers and storms developing. You get the cascading effects, right? Whenever I book stuff and I have something Thursday, right, and I follow this rule, I'm out of here by 11 a.m. That
hey, that's a good rule.
Likewise, if I'm coming back, I'm here by 11 a.m. That is my kind of cutoff there. But through the day today, we are going to be looking at that heat. You don't have to go far, in fact, at all, to find any heat. Hot and mostly dry here through the day ahead. But that being said, we will still have some showers and storms. They'll be mainly down on the south and east side. Let's take a look at the satellite, the radar, the temperatures here. 83 now in Atlanta, 81 in Covington, 81 in Eatonton. We've seen some shower activity down south of Upson County and parts of Taylor and Macon counties this morning, also into southern Houston County, right there along I-75. Most of that's going to stay down to the south here through the afternoon. I think if we see any wet weather, it's going to be out I-20. But the heat advisory, it's in place, and it's going to stay in place through the overnight hours. That is relatively rare. We're looking at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Heat advisory still in place. So through Monday at 8 p.m. is when it lasts. Heat indices 105 to 110 for most of North Georgia. Now, Northeast Georgia technically is not included in that. But look, if you are up in Waleska and you're in the heat advisory, that does not mean Waleska is going to see a significant heat difference from Jasper, right? It's just where the criteria is being met versus not met, and that is where they decided to do the cutoff line. So this is the time of year where we like to remind people: drink plenty of water, beverages with electrolytes, sunscreen, lightweight, loose fitting, light colored clothing, regular breaks in the shade, and you know what to do. August sizzle. All right, so these temperatures are not going anywhere anytime soon. 95 today, 98 tomorrow, 95 for Tuesday, 95 on Wednesday, and then we hit a little bit of a cooling trend, but that's still not a significant one. In fact, I just put a map up on my Facebook page that shows into next week, so the 23rd to the 27th, we are still going to be above the norm by likely several degrees as our average high continues to fall. So out the door today, looking for a high temperature of 85, or a 10 a.m. temperature of 85, a high temperature of 95. We'll say mostly clear skies with only a handful of showers and storms. Got 97 in Covington, 98 in Athens, 97 in Eatonton, 94 over in Thomaston, 96 in LaGrange, 95 in Noonan, and 97 over in Dalton and in Rome. And through the week ahead, right, relatively low chance of rain today at 20%, something similar for Monday and Tuesday. Completely dry there on Wednesday. It does look like our wettest day would be on Friday. One more thing to throw on your radar, and I didn't highlight it here in the forecast necessarily, mainly because I'm not overly concerned about it. We are technically clipped by a level 2 tomorrow, but that comes with a 20% chance of rain, right? That's an 80% chance of staying dry, and that level 2 is that far northern tier of counties. That's going to be from really Dade, Walker, Catoosa counties over to Rabun County before all is said and done. But again, I'm not losing any sleep over it, nor am I giving it a lot of brain power right through the day tomorrow.
All right, Alex, before you go, I do want to ask you about Hurricane Lala. I know it has downgraded to a tropical storm. So let's take a look at some video of that hurricane. And Alex, what can you provide, any information that you can provide on the situation?
Well, so I think the first thing that comes to mind is that we don't often talk about hurricanes in Hawaii. They have not taken a direct hit from a hurricane since the 1950s. And even as Lala has passed by, I'm pulling up a satellite image here on Graphic 7 in just a second, we are going to see, the center of the storm did not end up making landfall anywhere close, or well, it was kind of close, but anywhere near the Big Island. So what I'm going to do is back this up here. This is the satellite image, and the center, let's go a little further. That was 8 hours. Let's do 12 hours. The center came at its closest point kind of right in there. So in this map view from the south side of the Big Island into Lala, it was about 40 miles away. But it was an impactful storm. If I turn off the satellite, what you're going to see is the terrain there in Hawaii. I kind of wish this was more of a 3D map, but what's happening is a lot of the flooding rains, you're getting a wind like this on the Big Island, and that forces the movement of the cloud up, and it essentially generates a whole lot of rain. So in this area of the Big Island, this is where they are looking at some significant flash flooding from Hilo down on the south side and really right there along the Pacific coastline. It's this area that's really taken the brunt of the storm.
All right, Alex, thanks so much for sticking a little bit longer to talk about Hurricane Lala. I was doing a little bit of research on there, and I was like, hey, let's have our meteorologist talk about the situation. So thanks. All right, guys, let's take a look at another situation, this time in the U.S. So speaking of Indiana, authorities in Indiana say several people have died over the past several days as the result of severe storms and flooding in that area. And you're taking a look at video. Going to change the banner here so that you know that we're speaking about Indiana. Flood warnings remain in place across this state. Indiana has been hit hard by heavy rainfall that sent rivers to record levels and forced residents to go to higher ground. Now, more than a dozen counties have declared disasters, and the National Weather Service reported more than 11 inches of rainfall over a 2-day period in some areas there. But of course, Fox is monitoring this situation. We'll keep you updated and let you know more about it. Back here in the Atlanta area, a Gwinnett County mother charged with second-degree murder in her 1-year-old son's hot car death was allowed to visit her son's body on Saturday, but deputies brought her to the mortuary hours before the services began. So investigators accused 29-year-old Deja Coleman of leaving her 1-year-old son Daniel inside her vehicle while she worked an 8-hour shift at Northside Hospital, Gwinnett on July 29th. She was later charged with second-degree murder. A judge granted Coleman permission to attend the funeral services, which were held yesterday for her son at Hollifield Mortuary in Northwest Atlanta. Mortuary employees and Coleman's attorney, Tom Ford, said Gwinnett County deputies brought Coleman to the mortuary at 6 o'clock in the morning yesterday, 7 hours before the service started at 1 p.m. Coleman was accompanied by several deputies, wore jail attire, and was handcuffed at the wrists and ankles during the 45-minute private visit. So she actually didn't get to go to the funeral. But Coleman's family expressed some frustration about the situation after arriving for the afternoon memorial service and learning she had already been brought in and taken back to the jail before it even started. Let's take a listen.
I got an email, a text message last night telling me that she would be here.
I don't know why they took her so early, but at least she got an opportunity to see the setup and participate by herself, I guess. But I just wish she was here, that's all. It was a beautiful service. It was compelling, man. I was so worried about Deja the whole time. I didn't get a chance to process the child passing,
They brought her in. They were in there about 45 minutes, I want to say, and then they left. I did ask the deputy that was outside, are y'all coming back? And he told me no, that they're not coming back.
So you can hear the family's frustration there. The Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office stated it could not comment on the specifics of Coleman's transport due to security and operational considerations. Now, what's next for the mother here? Coleman waived her preliminary hearing earlier this week, sending the case to the Gwinnett County Superior Court, and she is scheduled to appear in court next on September 9th for a bond hearing. Moving now to Virginia, police in Virginia have arrested a 19-year-old man in connection with a shooting at Virginia State University. This happened early yesterday morning, and it left 5 people injured, 1 seriously hurt. Authorities say they found the suspect, identified as 19-year-old Cameron Harris of Henrico, Virginia, hiding in a dormitory closet. Now, they say Harris is not a student at Virginia State, and for the victims, who are ages 17 to 23, also do not go to the school. Authorities have given no information about a possible motive here, and police say they've obtained 8 felony warrants for Harris, including for malicious wounding and the use of a firearm in the commission of a felony. Classes for the fall semester will begin on Monday for these students, but a scary situation. I'm pretty sure some of those students don't want to return because of this. British sociologist and Cambridge professor here, Jaden Arday, was found dead inside a home in South London on Friday afternoon. Now, this story has been gaining a lot of attention nationwide. Let's get into the details here. The author became the prestigious university's youngest black professor in 2023, but recently resigned amid allegations about plagiarism in his academic work and questions surrounding his athletic and fundraising accomplishments as well. So Arday denied plagiarism, but admitted to some mistakes when working on his doctoral degree. Supporters of the professor say the allegations were a racially motivated smear campaign. UK Prime Minister Andy Burnham offers his condolences to Arday's family and loved ones. Let's take a listen.
It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy on so many levels, but particularly just for everybody who knew Jason, his family, obviously, his friends. We think of them today. It's not a moment for any rushing to judgment. It's a moment for reflection, I would say, reflecting on how things came to this. A really sad and sorry state of affairs, and I think we just all today think of Jason, his contribution, and his family and friends.
And again, you just heard from the British Prime Minister here on the death of British sociologist and Cambridge professor Jason Arday. Now, police say his death is not believed to be suspicious. Arday was 41 years old. Back here in the Atlanta area, the Paulding County coroner has asked a jury to weigh in on the death of Heather Turner. Turner was found by her husband, Andy, in their home back in 2017 with a gunshot wound to her head. 6 months ago, the Paulding County Sheriff's Office officially ruled her death a suicide and closed this case. But the coroner says that she believes it warrants further investigation. Now, in January, a 5-member jury will consider all the evidence and determine the manner of the death. Heather's father says he welcomes the inquest. Her husband says he's deeply disappointed not only in the coroner's decision to pursue the inquest, but of the continued incompetence she has demonstrated. He said that, quote, Turner says the coroner's initial report contained crucial mistakes that had serious consequences, resulting in brutal bullying. The statement goes on to say, from the family, the continued pursuit of this matter has created additional attention, expense, and turmoil for the family that has already endured more than anyone should have endured. Now, we did listen to the Paulding County coroner this past week. She spoke about this case and gave a little more information on why she's doing this inquest. Let's take a listen.
All right. Good afternoon. My name is Lindsay Eberhardt Fuller, and I'm the coroner for Paulding County. Approximately 2 weeks ago, I announced my decision to convene a coroner's inquest into the death of Heather Turner. Today, I want to provide the specific details of that proceeding, explain what an inquest is and what it is not, and clarify the role of the coroner's office and let the public know what to expect moving forward. The inquest is scheduled to begin in January 2027. It will be held in the jury assembly room of the Paulding County Courthouse. Before I explain the proceeding itself, I want to briefly explain the role of the coroner, because there are often misconceptions about what this office does and why it exists. The coroner's office is not a law enforcement agency. We do not arrest people, we do not prosecute people, we do not determine criminal guilt, and we do not process crime scenes in the way that a sheriff's office or a local police department does. We also do not perform autopsies. When a forensic examination is necessary, the work is performed by the medical examiner. The coroner has a separate and important responsibility in the death investigation process. We pronounce death when appropriate, take responsibility for the deceased as provided by law, gather information surrounding the death, work with the medical examiner when further examination is necessary, and carry an independent responsibility in determining and certifying the cause and manner of death. Much of that work happens quietly and behind the scenes. The coroner exists to fulfill an independent responsibility to the deceased, to make certain the death is examined carefully and documented responsibly and certified according to the law. Law enforcement, the medical examiner, and the coroner each perform different but related functions. We have different responsibilities within the same process. And that brings me to Heather. Before I speak about statutes, jurors, or procedure, I want to speak about the person that is at the center of all of this. Her name was Heather Turner. For almost a decade, Heather's name has been surrounded by news coverage, theories, opinions, speculation, and public debate. But Heather Turner was more than how she died. She was not a headline. She was not a case file. She was not a case to close. She was a person. And I think over the years, many people have lost sight of that. There were people who knew her voice, her laugh, her personality, and the ordinary parts of her life long before the circumstances of her death became the subject of public discussion. Heather Turner is why this process matters. Her death deserves to be examined through a process that is fair, impartial, transparent, and provided for by the law. I also want to address why this process is taking place now. Georgia law provides that a coroner's jury cannot be impaneled until the investigation has been completed and the required investigative and medical reports have been received. The investigation into Heather's death remained open for nearly 9 years and was closed in February of this year. Until that investigation was completed, an inquest was not a process this office could properly move forward with. Once it was closed, I was able for the first time to fully consider whether an inquest is appropriate, and I determined that it is. Coroner's inquests are not held often, and they should not be. Most deaths can be appropriately resolved without convening a jury. But there are cases in which an additional formal examination is warranted, and Georgia law provides a process for those circumstances. Heather's case warrants that process. So, what is an inquest? An inquest is a legal proceeding in which a jury hears evidence and sworn testimony surrounding a death and makes a determination regarding the manner of that death. It is not a criminal trial. It is not a prosecution. It is not an accusation against any person or persons. And it is not an investigation of another agency. Its purpose is narrow and specific to determine how Heather Turner died. The jury will determine whether the manner of death was homicide, suicide, accident, natural causes, or undetermined. The sheriff's office has conducted its investigation and publicly announced its conclusion. The medical examiner's office has also reached its conclusion. I respect the responsibilities of both of these agencies and the professionals that are involved. But a public announcement by another agency is not the process Georgia law provides for the coroner's office to fulfill its own responsibility regarding the manner of death. That process is the inquest. I was not entrusted with this office to borrow someone else's judgment. I was entrusted with it to exercise my own responsibly. That is not a criticism of another agency. It is an acknowledgement that each of us has different responsibilities within the death investigation process, and I am accountable for mine. 5 jurors and 1 alternate will be selected through the appropriate court process. The jury will hear the evidence presented, receive sworn testimony, and be provided the records and materials necessary to consider the circumstances of Heather's death as a whole. At the conclusion of the proceeding, the 5 jurors will make a determination regarding the manner of death. I do not have a predetermined outcome. Convening this inquest should not be interpreted as a conclusion by me that Heather's death was a homicide, suicide, or any other manner of death. An inquest begins with a question, not a predetermined answer. If I had already decided what the answer should be, there would be no legitimate purpose in asking a jury to make that determination. And I want to be equally clear about what happens when this process is complete. I trust this process. I trust the jury to hear the evidence, listen to the sworn testimony, consider the materials placed before them, and make the determination the law asks them to make. And whatever that verdict is, I will accept it and I will follow the law. I'm asking the public to trust this process, and I intend to demonstrate that same trust myself. That also means I have an obligation to protect its integrity before it begins. I will not discuss specific pieces of evidence that will be presented. I will not preview sworn testimony. I will not publicly evaluate witnesses or debate isolated portions of this case before they are heard in the proper forum. That is not secrecy, and it is not a lack of transparency. It is the responsibility that comes with asking the public to trust this process. What I can promise is that the jury will be given all the evidence, sworn testimony, records, and materials necessary to make a fair and impartial determination. They will hear this case as a whole, not in fragments, not through headlines, and not through public discussion, because the truth should be able to withstand questions. And asking those questions in the proper forum is not an accusation. It is the purpose of the process that Georgia law allows. I cannot promise closure to Heather's family. No proceeding can undo her death or restore the years that have passed. What I can promise is clarity through a fair and lawful process. A process where sworn testimony is heard, the information is presented, and a jury is given what it needs to make an independent and impartial determination. For nearly a decade, Heather Turner's death has been discussed publicly, analyzed in pieces, and viewed through competing opinions. This inquest is not intended to add another voice to that public debate. It is intended to move this matter from public debate into the lawful process provided for exactly this purpose. It will not begin with an assumption. It will not begin with a preferred conclusion. It will begin with the evidence, the sworn testimony, and a jury entrusted to consider the whole of it fairly. Heather Turner was more than how she died. But how she died is the question this proceeding is charged with answering. My goal is not a particular answer. My goal is a process worthy of that question. I trust that process. I will respect the jury's verdict. I will follow the law. Heather deserves that. The public should expect that. And this office will provide it. Thank you. If anybody has any questions, I'll take a few of those as well.
I'm Ashley Webb with Channel 2. Why did you feel a coroner's inquest was necessary?
Okay, guys, I see some of you asking questions in the comments about this story here. So I'm going to go back through some of the details of this case. Again, this is a 2017 death here. So the Paulding County coroner, who you just heard speak there, has called for a coroner's inquest into the 2017 death of Heather Turner to bring some clarity to this long disputed case. So what we know about this story, there's the coroner there holding the news conference to discuss her decision to review the death of Heather Turner and announced details regarding the upcoming coroner's inquest. So Turner's husband, Andy Turner, found her inside the couple's Paulding County home on May 4th in 2017 with a gunshot wound to her head. Now, this case remained unsolved for years before the Paulding County Sheriff's Office announced in February that investigators had closed their investigation and determined her death as suicide. Now, despite that conclusion, Fuller has said she is not prepared to support changing Turner's death certificate from undetermined to suicide. To resolve this matter, Fuller, the coroner, announced that the inquest is set for January 2027 in the jury assembly room at the Paulding County Courthouse, noting she blocked off significant time to ensure jurors are not rushed. Now, 5 jurors and 1 alternate will be selected through the court system to evaluate case materials here, examine evidence, and hear sworn testimony, emphasizing the importance here of an impartial process. Fuller stated that she has no predetermined outcome, does not assume a specific manner of death, and will accept and follow whatever verdict the jury returns. So, of course, this is a story we'll be following. The coroner here had some questions about her cause of death, did not want to change her undetermined cause of death on her certificate to suicide. So she has now called for this inquest, and she's called for this jury to rule on the 2017 death of Heather Turner. Of course, we'll keep you updated on this story, and a lot of you do have questions about it, so we'll circle back to this a little bit later this morning. Our time here is 9:26. We're back with some lighter news after this. Welcome back to our news conversation here on Fox Local. I'm Jasmine Cornell. It is National Roller Coaster Day, if you did not know, and Dollywood is taking guests on an adventure unlike anything they've ever experienced. Night Flight Expedition launches this week, this new attraction, and Ellen Liston, Dollywood's public relations manager, joins us live to talk about all the fun. Thanks so much for joining us from Dollywood, bringing some positive energy to the stream.
Yeah, we are so excited to have the ride getting ready to open. We announced it last fall, and actually I'm standing in the queue line at Night Flight Expedition. Very shortly, people are going to be lining up for their chance to ride this morning. We're having a special season pass holder preview and really excited for folks to experience this ride.
Oh my goodness, this is so exciting. So first, tell us, what can people expect, without giving us too much details here, what can people expect when they experience this new attraction?
Well, I think that's the fun of it. We want you to expect the unexpected, because if you feel like you're going to go on a roller coaster, you are. If you feel like you're going to go on a water ride, you might be doing that too. If you feel like you want maybe several different experiences in one ride, you're going to get 4. You're going to feel like you're in the nighttime sky here in the Great Smoky Mountains. You're going to soar through the clouds. You might take a little whitewater adventure. Then you're going to go through the Smokies themselves. And what we really want to find is Secret Lake, and I'm hoping everybody's going to find that at the end. It's also more than a 5-minute ride experience, which is very exciting. And, you know, we've been having a little heat up here in the mountains, but you're inside in the cool the whole time. It's completely indoors. So that is something that is going to be fun, whether you're coming the end of this week to experience it for the first time, whether you come this fall, or even at Christmas, you're still going to feel like it's kind of summertime in the Smokies.
Oh my goodness, so many questions to ask here about this ride. First, let's talk about the water. More than 500,000 gallons. How do you convince someone that they're going on a roller coaster and a whitewater adventure at the same time?
Well, that's part of the secret and the fun of this ride, that we're kind of keeping a mystery until people experience it, because you are going to get in your roller coaster car, for lack of a better word, in the vehicle you're in. So first you're going to soar through the Smokies, and you're never going to leave that vehicle and still take kind of a whitewater rapids adventure. Then you're going to go back to a coaster experience. So it's just part of the magic that Dolly brings to everything at Dollywood. Leave it to Dolly to dream up something like that, right?
Absolutely. And so where do you see Dolly's fingerprints on this ride here?
You know, anytime we do something, Dolly is called our dreamer in chief, which is, I think, the greatest title you could ever have. And whenever we look at, here's what we'd love to do, she kind of brings the creativity to the having it here in the Smoky Mountains. Obviously, she remembers as a child all the fireflies and the sounds of the Smokies at night, and how it was such an adventure, but it was never anything really to be scared of. It was just to be embraced, the nature of the Smokies at night, which is different than during the daytime. So that's kind of where the story started. And also, she loves it when things are very unexpected. So you're going to have a little of that in this ride. Like I said, you just got to come and try and figure it out for yourself.
And there's a whole mystery behind Cora, Jasper, and the search for Secret Lake. So can you tell us a little bit about these characters and why it was important to bring this storyline into the ride?
So Cora and Jasper have a lot of workshops here where we have Night Flight Expedition. One of them is right behind me. The bioluminator, you can kind of see it behind me, is what they kind of are using to see if they can find Secret Lake. And they have been spending a lot of time trying to figure all that out. And I think they probably actually did that now. Again, they've got some surprises for you, so you're going to have to come check it out. And you know what? It's a great drive from the Atlanta area. It's pretty scenery once you get here. It's not a hard drive to make. It is a great getaway experience. Or if you want to come for the whole week, so much to do here in the Great Smoky Mountains area.
Oh my goodness. And speaking of the Smokies, and you did mention that this ride is in a temperature controlled building. So why did you all decide to do that? Was it the temperature in the old Smokies or in the Smokies?
I think sometimes we do, we're experiencing some heat right now, but it's one of those things that it's kind of a weather resistant ride. So, if we have some rain or it gets cold, this ride is still going to be able to operate. And in the theme park industry, it's what's called a dark ride because you're all inside. And we have one dark ride, but it's not a big ride. And so we wanted this to be the latest experience, the newest technology. We really try to listen to our guests. And this is something that frequent visitors to Dollywood, especially people who love roller coasters, wanted to see. And so we're excited to be able to deliver on that with Night Flight Expedition.
And one more question about the new attraction here. After all the planning, engineering, and storytelling, what's the moment on the ride that still makes you smile every time you experience it?
I think it's the combination of what happens on the ride and then kind of the finish where to our riders, Secret Lake is not as much of a secret anymore because they figured it out. And I think to me, though, the most exciting part is always when people have experienced the ride and are so amazed at all the different things that they got to do. And you know what? You've got an open invitation. Come and see me and you can experience it for yourself.
Sounds good, Ellen. One more time, tell us when you all are launching it. I know this coming week you all are launching it, but when the public, people here in Atlanta, can go to Dollywood and enjoy this ride.
Well, it's a great thing for you to do this weekend. We're opening at the end of the week, and for everyone that comes, we're excited for folks to be here. If you want a little bit more information for the ride, just go to Dollywood.com and check it out.
All right, Ellen, thanks so much for joining us to talk about this. I'm excited. This sounds like an entire incredible adventure. So thanks so much for joining us to talk about this.
Thank you.
All right, Ellen. We'll see Ellen later. She's going to join us a little bit later this morning to talk about some of the fall festivities that Dollywood is hosting. Our time here is 9:35, so we'll return on Fox Local. We'll take a look at some sports news that you don't want to miss. Welcome back to our news conversation here on Fox Local. I'm Jasmine and Cornell. Let's talk sports. We know that Candace Parker, along with several other trailblazing men and women here, headline an iconic class of athletes joining the Hall of Fame. Candace Parker spoke about this yesterday. Let's take a listen to what she had to say about this honor. Well, hopefully we can get her there this morning. Okay, we do have our sound, so let's go ahead and play that.
Man, it's crazy because all the legends have told me about the heaviness of this room, right? But growing up, I looked at all of you all, and now like the heaviness is you guys are looking at me. So I'm just super grateful to be here. It was never just a game, and today I hope to tell you a story about a love story. That feeling happened when I was 13. I was in 7th grade, and it was just us in the gym, and I was in love. First quarter was defined by you chase people in passion and you will never fail in life. 1972, Title IX, it was passed, and that meant opportunity for women. Years later, there's a guard from USC that moved like nothing we had ever seen before. She was coached by Pat Summitt and then '84 Olympics gold medalist. Her name was Cheryl Miller. Yep. And she broke the mold and set the stage for what was to come and what is today. Throw that back. Throw it back. Growing up in the 90s in Illinois was a time to be alive. Bulls three-peat, although Ron Harper was my favorite player, I'll be honest. MJ was cool, Ron Harper was my favorite player. But I didn't have to look far. I looked down the hall to my role models, my brothers Anthony and Marcus. They gave me front row seats to what it took to be great. They were my heroes. People see a 10-year NBA vet who used to guard some of the greatest in the game. He's a GM with the Magic now, and some people ask what happened to my middle brother. Well, he just went on to Johns Hopkins and became a doctor. But I saw the journey that it took to get there. I saw the journey to greatness. I saw the grind. And I began to learn at an early age that participation trophies were not accepted in our household. I played soccer in my hometown in Naperville, Illinois, and the lone member of our team hadn't scored all year, so we parted the Red Sea. I crossed the ball, she towed it in and barely ran, over the line. Her dad ran out there, picked her up, they did airplanes. He was asking her where she wanted to go for ice cream, all of that. They just celebrated. And I looked over at my dad, and I was like, one time I had 5 goals in a game. I got nothing, not even a good game. He shrugged and said, Parkers don't have that same goals, and they don't have those same expectations. We had a legacy to live up to. You see, my great-grandfather, Clarence Duke, he graduated and got his master's at the University of Oklahoma in 1956 as a black man. My Mimi, Shirley Montgomery, she could throw a mean left-hand pitch, and she threw the only no-hitter in Des Moines history for girls before sport was thought to be for girls. I understood that, I had my ancestors, I had standards, and I had responsibilities to live up to. My mom always constantly telling me can do, her mantra that gave me confidence to have the courage to speak up and to own my own voice. She has and will always be my #1 fan. To my dad, who planted the seeds of challenges. We used to call him the modern day Joe Jackson, but since the biopic came out, we've retracted that nickname. He was the first to put me at point guard as the tallest kid on the team. He gave me a volleyball, and he was the one that was like, hey, I think you can dunk. And I dunked at 14. My brothers didn't dunk till they were 16, but we'll keep going. He saw things in me far beyond what I saw in myself. My family is truly the reason why I am here today. I was inspired by the '96 team. I was inspired by the 4-time champs in the Houston Comets. I was inspired by Brandi Chastain ripping her shirt off after scoring a PK in the '99 World Cup. And I realized that girls had opportunity like never before. Quarter 2 was about learning how to be great. In '97, my brother got drafted and traded on draft night to the Sixers. And this guy right here became his teammate. AI will always stand for Allen Iverson. I don't care what today says. It will always stand for Allen Iverson, okay? The dominance and the impact that he has is still felt today. My nephew Juji, my son Hart, they're rocking the cornrows because of this dude. He carried an entire culture, and he carried this young girl at 6'4" that wanted to be just like him. And now I look at him and he's rocking it's just unbelievable. He's rocking a sweat. I'm sorry, I'm blown away by you having a suit that has Parker on it. I couldn't have picked better role models. AI, you got to throw it back, though.
Oh, my goodness. That speech there bringing you to tears a little bit. Candace Parker there speaking yesterday. That was last night. She and, again, several other athletes. We'll take a listen to some more this morning. All use their Hall of Fame speeches here to serve as a love letter to basketball. And the sport has given them so much, culminating with this enshrinement into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame last night. And Candace Parker there carrying a ball up to the podium, as you saw, for her speech as part of the 2026 class that also included the 1996 U.S. Olympic women's basketball team. We'll talk about more of this later this morning. Our time is 9:45. We're back with more after this. Welcome back to this news conversation here on Fox Local. I'm Jasmine Cornell. Thanks so much for joining us and participating in the conversation. This is a little different from your traditional broadcast show. We can read your comments in real time here on the live stream if you are joining us from social media. So feel free to weigh into this conversation. I want to talk about a story now that, is gaining a lot of attention nationwide, also here in our area, a very special story. So a North Carolina family is expressing gratitude to the family of the DeKalb County educator who died saving a little girl in Myrtle Beach. 47-year-old Derek Moore ran into the ocean in that beach in South Carolina, but never made it back to shore. Our Annie Mapp joins us now to talk about the story.
That man tells me not a day goes by without him thinking of how Derek Moore put his life on the line to help a stranger.
Ernest McCallum says he and his family were getting ready to leave Myrtle Beach last Friday evening when he noticed.
I see Summer and Summer's face just facing the sky. So I'm thinking she playing because I just seen you.
His 10-year-old niece Summer was in serious trouble.
I heard Derek say, help.
McCallum says he and 47-year-old Derek Moore both rushed to the water. However, McCallum struggled to make it to his niece.
Fighting waves by the time she's farther out, and I can't swim no more. I mean, I'm tired. I don't have no ground up under my feet.
He recalls seeing Derek holding his niece up. Other beachgoers allegedly met the 47-year-old in the water and took Summer back to shore.
So what happened? You should he came up on me and said, hold my arm, baby. And she said when the other guy came, he moved behind me and was holding me up until they came there. He pushed me towards him. And she said, I still thought he was, still behind me just swimming.
Unfortunately, Myrtle Beach authorities report the water took Derek. His body was found after an hours-long search the next morning. Derek was an educator in DeKalb County and coached for more than 20 years. People from all over the country now recognize him for those heroic final moments.
And he gave up everything for my baby and me.
McCallum believes he and his niece would both be dead today had Derek not been there.
It was my job to lay down my life and, do that, and then seeing how much he had going on, it's a terrible feeling.
Derek's family will have a celebration of life for him on August 22nd. They have started a GoFundMe to help his children. He did leave 4 kids behind. We have that on our website, fox5atlanta.com. Reporting in Atlanta, Annie Mapp, Fox 5 News.
Annie, thanks so much for talking about this story. A lot of people speaking out about this. And, the teacher here from our area is being hailed as a hero for saving that girl in Myrtle Beach who got caught in that rip current. Our time is 9:50. We're back with a look at farmers market in our area. If you need somewhere to go today during this hot weather, we have a place for you, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back to our news conversation here on Fox Local. I'm Jasmine Cornell. Let's get into this story here. A wonderful day outside and a perfect day to get out and get some local produce at the Grant Park Farmers Market. That's where we'll find our Eli Jordan. He's there and has a look at all the goods that you can get. Eli, I wish I was in your shoes right now.
Oh, yeah. Good morning, Jasmine. I am at the Grant Park Farmers Market. It's actually at 1030 Grant Street, all the way at the end, real close to the belt line. If you look up the beacon and all that, it's out here, it's in the neighborhood. And like I said, 1030 Grant Street. And this is a pretty happening little market. It's every Sunday throughout the year. And they're part of the Community Farmers Market Group, which is a 501c3 and nonprofit. And I am with Jennifer Thompson, who is with the CFM Community Farmers Market. Hey, Jennifer, how you doing?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing all right. So tell me about the Grant Park Farmers Market and CFM and what all people can expect if they come out here.
So Community Farmers Market is a 501c3 nonprofit. We operate 4 markets. Wednesday, Decatur Farmers Market. Thursday, East Atlanta Village Farmers Market. Saturday, Oakhurst Farmers Market. And right now happening on Sundays is the Grant Park Farmers Market. Sunday's market goes every year from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. We have about 75 vendors, about 25 farmers, a mix of artisans, crafts, drinks, readily prepared foods, bakeries, flowers, anything that you could dream of being at a farmer's market, we pretty much have out here.
So this isn't like a vendor's festival or anything. This is like really good food.
Good food, locally made, locally grown, locally sourced.
And I mean, even EBT and SNAP is accepted out here,
yes,
right?
So we do double and match EBT in partnership with Wholesome Wave Georgia. And that is something that we do accept at all of our markets.
And this is going on 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. every Sunday.
9 a.m.
9 a.m. I don't know why I keep saying 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. every Sunday.
Yep.
And so, I mean, if they can't make it out here today, they can, there's always next weekend or the weekend after that.
Absolutely.
Except towards the end of the year.
Except for towards the end of the year. We are closed right before or after Christmas, depending on where Christmas falls, and right before New Year's, depending on where New Year's falls. But every other Sunday, you can expect this market to be open, rain or shine.
So I see the Georgia Grown tent right behind you. What's that about?
So today we are actually popping up. Georgia Grown is in the market, which is a branch of the Georgia Department of Agriculture, as a statewide campaign uplifting eating locally grown produce. Grant Park's pop-up is happening today, featuring a variety of Georgia grown, Georgia sourced, and locally crafted products. These vendors, some of our vendors, are recognized for having sourced all of their products within Georgia, creating their entire product in Georgia, and they are recognized through the Georgia Grown emblem. And so today we are partnering with Georgia Grown to sell some of those products as a fundraiser for this campaign. If you're available, definitely stop by and find more and see where other pop-ups are occurring throughout the state.
So you got 75 vendors here.
Yes.
If I have a big garden and I, want to sell some stuff and all that, how would I get some, where would I go? What website would I go to?
So cfmatl.org houses all of our vendor information. There's a tab that says vendors. There you will find everything that you need to know to become one of our vendors. It's really important to go through this in detail beforehand. Our vendor applications typically open in December and close in February.
You guys fill up pretty quick?
And we do fill up pretty quick, and there is a wait list.
So there's a window from December until February.
Absolutely.
So, and there's a wait list. So I guess don't expect immediate acceptance or anything, but maybe start early and hope for the best.
It's definitely dependent on the market. Our Grant Park market tends to be the harder one to get into. Our other weekday markets tend to have some openings depending on what the current need is.
And we also too, tell me the website again.
cfmatl.org.
cfmatl.org. Will that also kind of, help, anybody want to see what all markets are going on, what time, what days?
Absolutely. And all of our information is on that website.
Cool. And what kind of people expect, what all different kind of foods and stuff can people expect out here today?
So currently we're heading back towards our ready prepared foods and bakeries. We also have a variety of coffee vendors.
And it seems to be very popular. Coffee.
Absolutely. So we actually have some pretty big brands from the Atlanta area. Little Tart, TGM are some of our bigger bakeries. We also have a Sono, who's really known for their donuts. We have readily prepared food. So we have Cuban sandwiches to our left right now. We have crepes directly in front of us. And occasionally there's pizza. You can also find shakshuka and cool things like an osito, something you wouldn't find in a restaurant, which is precisely a market taco, if you will.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, before we run out of time, tell me the website one more time.
So you can go to our website at cfmatl.org. You can find out everything about all of the markets that we're currently running, how to become a vendor, and follow us on social media as well.
Awesome. Jennifer Thompson with the CFM Community Farmers Market. We're at the Grant Park with the Community Farmers Market, going on until 1 p.m. today at 1030 Grant Street. Jasmine, I'll kick it back to you.
All right, Eli, sounds good. Thanks for showing us this. We look forward to checking in with you a little later this morning. Our time is 9:58. We're back with a look at your weather forecast, and we'll check in on some breaking news. Thanks so much for joining our news conversation here on Fox Local. I'm Jasmine Cornell. Have a lot of stories to get to, but first, let's get to breaking news. We know that 2 people are dead after an early morning fire in Southwest Atlanta. Our Kim Leffler joins us live now to talk more about this. And Kim, any new information on the situation here?
Hey, Jasmine, good morning to you. Yeah, it's a really heavy morning out here right now. Crews just finished removing both bodies from the burned home here just in the last few minutes, and I saw neighbors hugging each other, everyone really devastated about what happened. But as you can see, crews remain on scene here, and we do have some video that we got a little bit earlier this morning. Here is what we know, according to Atlanta Fire Rescue. We know firefighters arrived here a little after 4:15 this morning. When they got here, they found heavy fire on the first floor of this home that also has a basement as well. They say the fire took over the whole house from the carport to the attic, as well as the sleeping areas, and eventually the basement too. Firefighters were told to evacuate the house because the fire was too intense and enter a defensive mode until conditions improved and they could get back inside. That's when they found 2 people inside of the home that did not survive. They say the cause of the fire is still under investigation, but I have been speaking with neighbors out here this morning, and they say the man who lived here was close to 50 years old, and he had been in the neighborhood here for quite some time. Again, police are still trying to figure out exactly what caused this fire, what led up to all of this. Of course, as soon as we get any more information, we'll be sure to bring it right to you. Jasmine.
For joining us to talk about the situation here. We'll check in with you a little bit later this morning. Very sad to hear that, you all just saw the bodies being brought out the home there. A very sad situation, and just hate to hear that this morning. We'll let you get back and talk to the residents as they remember those people who died in this fire. Kim, thanks so much for joining us. Our time here is at 10:03. Let's go ahead and take a live look outside at downtown Atlanta. It's a beautiful day outside, and I know many people will be out to enjoy the sweltering temperatures. Maybe not our meteorologist, Alex Forbes. I don't know, but he's here to join us to talk about it.
I have a text I haven't responded to yet of somebody saying, hey, you want to go to the Braves game today? I'm mentally preparing myself to say yes. So that is my extent of being outside. But look, I mean, it's going to be hot in terms of, obviously the temperature's hot, but it's that heat index that's really the killer out there across Metro Atlanta and North Georgia. So that's going to be the story today as we look live over Hartsfield-Jackson, and we see that, that's... I always find it funny when I call it the world's busiest airport and there's like no planes coming by.
Right.
But it is the world's busiest airport. Hopefully we'll catch one here in a second. Hot today, but mostly dry. So that's a change from yesterday to today. Yesterday wasn't the wettest day in the world, but I did see a number of showers and storms today. I think we're going to see fewer of them across the metro area. Here's where things stand. 86 in Atlanta, 86 in Covington, 84 in Eatonton, 82 over in Thomaston, 82 in Griffin, and 84 in Canton at this hour. Saw some morning shower activity. That's really since faded away. Down on the south side, that's Taylor County over towards Peach County and whatnot. Heat advisory. Most everybody is in it today with the exception of far northeast Georgia. And it's not just today, it's into the night tonight and for tomorrow. So the heat advisory does not expire and then pick back up. It just keeps on keeping on. Heat index values 105 to 110. And look, Blairsville, Dawsonville, Dahlonega, Clayton over towards White County, Gilmer County. It's not that it's going to be cold up there. It's that you are sitting just below the heat advisory criteria through the day ahead. So something to be mindful of there. Now, this is the time of year where we start talking about heat exhaustion, heat stroke, things like that. Drink plenty of water, beverages with electrolytes, always a good idea. Lightweight, loose-fitting, light-colored clothing. Regular breaks in the shade, and the sunscreen SPF 30 or higher every 2 hours is the recommendation. So 95 today, 98 for Monday, 95 on Tuesday. We do hit a bit of a cooling trend, 96, 93, 90 Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So that will be kind of nice here in the metro area. But out the door today, looking for mostly clear skies. A rogue thunderstorm is possible. Looking for 97 in Covington and Eatonton, 98 over in Athens, 96 in Gainesville, and 97 in Rome here through the afternoon. Overall, that rain chance at 20% today, 20% for Monday and Tuesday. Completely dry there on Wednesday, but our best chance for showers and storms will actually be on Friday. That's going to be a weak system coming through. And before we go, I forgot to clear. Let's go back over to our neck of the woods. I do want to show you real fast that through the next, say, 48 hours, there is a low risk of severe weather tomorrow that clips far northern Georgia with a level 2, but notice how it's more of a Tennessee and North Carolina thing. A level 1 does extend down into the Atlanta area. If we see anything, I'm thinking 4 p.m. to midnight, but I will be surprised if we see a severe thunderstorm warning tomorrow. And then that's pretty much the lay of the land. Only a 20% chance of rain.
Only a 20% chance of rain. Well, hopefully we don't see that severe weather.
Yeah, and like I said, I expect it to be more of a Tennessee, North Carolina thing. It's just that first tier of North Georgia counties are included in that level 2.
All right, Alex, thanks so much for joining us to talk weather. We'll check in with you a little bit later this morning.
Yep.
Guys, I do want to talk about a situation not in our area, out in Hawaii. Speaking of Hurricane Lala, and we'll keep our meteorologist Alex Forbes here to talk a little bit about this. I know, Alex, that it did cause some flooding and some power outages, but it has weakened to a tropical storm.
Yeah.
So it's not even called Hurricane Lala anymore.
Right. So, and the way hurricanes are measured and all the stuff is that it's all down at the surface. But the unique thing that Hawaii poses is that they're volcanoes. The islands are literally volcanoes, so they go really high up in the atmosphere. We saw category 3 and 4 force hurricane wind gusts out of the storm because they go so high up. Now, the reason why it wasn't a Category 3 or 4 hurricane is because the wind speed that drives the Saffir-Simpson scale is sustained winds, not the wind gusts. So that does not necessarily meet the criteria in order to be classified as certain things. So Lala technically did not make landfall on the Hawaiian Islands. It just skirted by. Of course, we still saw the impacts, but Jasmine, the biggest thing with tropical systems down there is the flooding, right? The rain runs into the mountainside, then the water runs down the mountainside, and you can pick up, in some instances, they've seen there over 3 feet of rain, 36 inches in the last 48 hours.
All right, Alex, thanks so much for joining us to provide some insight on the situation as well, including talking about our weather here in the metro Atlanta area. Alex, thanks.
Yep.
Let's move forward to the situation out in Indiana. Authorities there say several people have died over the past several days as a result of severe storms and flooding. Now, flood warnings do remain in place for the residents across the state. Indiana has been hit hard by heavy rainfall, and that sent rivers to record levels and forced residents to go to higher ground. Now, more than a dozen counties have declared disasters in this area. The National Weather Service reporting more than 11 inches of rain fell over a 2-day period in some places. So, of course, our thoughts and prayers are with those involved in the situation in Hawaii and in Indiana. A lot going on there, and of course, in these areas, recovery efforts are underway. And so we'll keep you updated here on Fox Local and check in with our Alex Forbes in about an hour to discuss the situations again. Moving forward back here to our area in Gwinnett County, a Gwinnett County mother charged with second-degree murder and her 1-year-old son's hot car death was allowed to visit her son's body yesterday. But deputies brought her to the mortuary hours before services again. And, you know, her family is speaking out about this, saying that they hate that this happened. So she did not get to attend the memorial service for her 1-year-old son. So investigators accused 29-year-old Deja Coleman of leaving her 1-year-old son, Daniel, inside her vehicle while she worked an 8-hour shift at Northside Hospital, Gwinnett, on July 29th. She was later charged with second-degree murder, and a judge granted Coleman permission to attend the funeral services, which were held yesterday for her son in Northwest Atlanta. Mortuary employees and Coleman's attorney, Tom Ford, said Gwinnett County deputies brought Coleman to the mortuary at 6 o'clock in the morning yesterday, several hours before the service, which started at 1 p.m. Coleman was accompanied by several deputies, wore jail attire, and was handcuffed around her wrists and ankles during this 45-minute private visit yesterday morning. But Coleman's family members, like I said, have expressed some frustration after arriving for the 1 p.m. memorial service and learning that Coleman had already been brought in and taken back to the jail. Let's take a listen to what they had to say.
Yeah, I got a text message last night telling me that she would be here.
I don't know why they took her so early, but at least she got an opportunity, to see the setup and participate by herself, I guess. But I just wish she was here. That's all. It was a beautiful service. It was compelling, man. I was so worried about Deja the whole time. I didn't get a chance to process the child passing,
They brought her in. They were in there about 45 minutes, I want to say, and then they left. I did ask the deputy that was outside, are y'all coming back? And he told me no, that they're not coming back.
Again, her family, they're speaking out. They were under the impression that she was going to get to attend the memorial service that was held at 1 p.m. yesterday for her 1-year-old son, but she was only brought in to see the body at 6 o'clock yesterday morning. So the Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office stated that it could not comment on the specifics of her transport due to security and operational considerations. And Coleman has waived her preliminary hearing that was earlier this week, sending the case to the Gwinnett County Superior Court, and she is scheduled to appear in court again on September 9th for a bond hearing. And of course, we'll be following this story here on Fox Local and on our broadcast shows. Moving now to Virginia, police in Virginia have arrested a 19-year-old man in connection with a shooting at Virginia State University. Now, we brought this to you as breaking news yesterday, and we have a look at the scene today. That shooting happened again early yesterday morning, and it left 5 people injured and 1 seriously hurt. Authorities say they found the suspect, identified as 19-year-old Cameron Harris of Henrico, Virginia, hiding in a dormitory closet following the shooting. They say Harris is not a student at Virginia State, and 4 of the victims, who are ages 17 to 23, also do not go to the school. So the big question here in the story, or one of them, is why were they on the school's campus? Authorities have not given information about a possible motive here. Police say they've obtained 8 felony warrants for Harris, including for malicious wounding and the use of a firearm in the commission of a felony. Classes for the fall semester will begin tomorrow for students. A scary situation. I'm pretty sure some students are a little bit hesitant about going back to class here at Virginia State, but hopefully we can get some more information on this situation from police there in that area. An international story gaining national headlines. British sociologist and Cambridge professor Jason Arday was found dead inside a home in South London on Friday afternoon. Now, the author became the prestigious university's youngest black professor back in 2023, but recently resigned amid allegations about plagiarism in his academic work, and also some questions surrounding his athletic and fundraising accomplishments. Now, Arday denied the plagiarism, but did admit to some mistakes when working on his doctoral degree. Supporters of the late professor say the allegations were a racially motivated smear campaign. Now, UK Prime Minister Andy Burnham offered his condolences to Arday's family and loved ones. Let's take a listen.
It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy on so many levels, but particularly just for everybody who knew Jason, his family, obviously, his friends. We think of them today. It's not a moment for any rushing to judgment. It's a moment for reflection, I would say, reflecting on how things came to this. A really sad and sorry state of affairs, and I think we just all today think of Jason, his contribution, and his family and friends.
UK Prime Minister speaking there about the death of Cambridge professor Andy is the name of the UK Prime Minister of the professor, Jason Arday. Jason Arday is the victim there on your screen. Police say his death is not believed to be suspicious. Arday was 41 years old. We'll see what comes out of this situation. Again, this is an international story. Back here in the Metro Atlanta area, a huge situation in Jackson County. So classes were canceled on Friday after 6 schools received computer-generated bomb threats overnight, prompting this large-scale response involving local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies. You're just taking a look at some footage from Friday. A front office staff member at Gum Springs Elementary School reported an AI-generated voicemail to authorities early Friday morning, triggering this district-wide emergency response. Officials said during a Friday morning news conference that the threats targeted 6 of the district's roughly 12 schools and came during the early morning hours. The first threat was discovered by a front office employee who received a message on a general school phone line around 4:30 to 4:45 in the morning. Now, I mentioned they did provide an update on the situation on Friday. Let's take a look back at this top story and hear what they had to say that day.
Philip Brown, Jackson County School Superintendent, PHILIP, BROWN.
Kevin McCook, KVIN, MCCOOK, Sheriff, Jackson County.
So in the early morning hours this morning,
can you step right in the middle? Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Sure.
And if you can just straight in the middle, there you go.
Yeah. In the early morning hours, one of our employees checked their voicemail and had received a threat on their voicemail. That employee alerted safety and school security employees, and we reached out to law enforcement, and Sheriff McCook and his team and all of our local partners and public safety officials have been tremendous throughout this situation. From there, our technology department did a search to see if other schools in our district had received a similar message, and and in total, 6 of our schools received this message. So at that time, law enforcement worked with their partner organizations, and a number of different county officials and city officials came to help, brought bomb dogs, brought other resources into our community to help search those schools. They started searching those schools. During that time, we started checking to see how much time it was going to take to search our schools and if we were going to be able to have school today. We put out a message earlier this morning around 6 o'clock that said we looked like we were trying to delay school to give parents further information would be forthcoming, and we provided that information later and told them that we had to cancel school today due to this situation.
Just want to say, first of all, thank you, Lord, that it wasn't anything more than what it was. We've got a great community here in Jackson County, got a great partnership with the school system here. Again, we put our folks in there to clear 6 schools in less than 5 hours. It's pretty incredible. And so we're thankful for all the internal agencies within Jackson County, as well as those in the neighboring counties and cities, to provide resources without which we wouldn't have been able to do this in such a timely manner. So we can't thank them enough, and I appreciate that. And with that, if you have any questions, we'll take them.
Sheriff, the Hall County Superintendent, he said that the nature of these threats appears to be AI generated and possibly from international. What do you have to say about the nature of these threats?
It does appear like it's an AI generated robo-type call, but the specifics of it we're working on right now. We have other state and federal agencies that we're working with to try to track that down.
Sure, but can you talk about these that are similar between different counties and all the schools? They were all like similar calls, or?
I can't speak to the nature of what's come into other school systems, but they appear to be somewhat similar from my understanding.
Dr. Brown, obviously an abundance of caution today and a huge team effort. The school's cleared in 3 hours. What made you decide to close school altogether for the day and just keep kids out and keep them safe?
Yeah, when you started looking at the timeline and the investigation that was going on, we did not feel like, based on when we felt like the schools would be swept and completed, and they did a tremendous job of sweeping those schools in that amount of time. We didn't feel like we would have enough time during the school day to get our students here safely and get them fed. What's really disappointing is there's a lot of kids that wanted to be in school today. There's a lot of teachers that want to be teaching today. There's a lot of principals that want to be leading, and it's really sad and unfortunate in society that we have to deal with situations like that. It's really infuriating because there's a lot of people that wanted to have a normal day. As well as parents who were depending on the school district not only to educate their kids, but a number of parents were very inconvenienced today by having to stay at home and take care of their kids instead of being at work. And so that's a challenge for our entire community.
And this was only basically half of your district schools? It wasn't the full system threat? It was specific individual to 6 out of 12 or so?
Yes, it was 6 out of the 12. With the information we had at the beginning, we did not know how many, especially at the start of this investigation, we didn't know how many schools were going to be impacted.
Every school got swept?
No, just the ones that received the threats.
I saw that on your website. You haven't made, you were going to tell parents about a decision about extracurricular after school care. What can parents expect for extracurricular?
Sure. We've communicated with them in the last few minutes that we will have extracurricular activities this evening that were scheduled.
So is that a football scrimmage or something?
We've got a band event at Jackson County High School. We have a football scrimmage. We have a number of different events happening this evening with kids.
You hoping that they can get back to a sense of normalcy this afternoon?
Sure. That's our hope.
You gonna beat Mill Creek? So, Sheriff, have you ever seen this type of bomb threat here in Jackson County?
Again, a scary situation taking place on Friday involving Jackson County schools. This bomb threat forcing all Jackson County schools to close for the day. Classes are set to resume this coming week, but we'll keep you updated on this situation here. Again, although classes were canceled on Friday, scheduled extracurricular activities took place Friday evening after authorities cleared the scene. School officials say they hope allowing the activities to continue will give students an opportunity to return to some sense of normalcy here after the disruption. Again, investigation continues, but everything is proceeding as normal tomorrow and into the upcoming days. Our time here is 10:22. We're back with more right after this. Welcome back here to Fox Local. Thanks for joining our news conversation. Time is 10:24. Let's get into this fun story here. So fall is just around the corner, and there's a place in the Smoky Mountains where the pumpkins don't just decorate the park, they light it up. So Dollywood's fall events bring cooler temperatures, colorful fall flavors, and plenty of nighttime thrills. Let's go ahead and bring in Ellen Liston, the PR manager at Dollywood. She's here to tell us what's in store for the fall season. Ellen, thanks so much for joining us again.
It's so good to be here. You know, I think we're all ready for some cooler temperatures. And so we kind of start fall here early. We're going to start in the middle of September 15th. And the entire park gets decorated with pumpkins. And probably my favorite part of the whole event, our Harvest Festival, is it's kind of two events in one. So we start with the daytime experiences, which is amazing pumpkin displays, great food. We have unbelievable entertainment that is going on throughout the park at outdoor stages and indoor stages. And then when it starts to get towards dusk, great pumpkin luminite starts, and all those pumpkins that you thought were just looking pretty, all of a sudden glow to life, and it is such a fun experience at night. Now, the other thing I will tell you is right behind me, you can see several of our roller coasters. One of them is Big Bear Mountain. That orange track is actually there all year. That we don't just bring that in for the fall colors, but that and Wild Eagle is immediately behind that. So imagine riding those when it's dark outside, and then you can see the orange and black and purple and white lights throughout the park right before you might take a plunge on that next turn on a roller coaster. So much fun whether you come during the day or at night, but I suggest you do both.
Oh my goodness, you painted such a great picture here, Ellen. Loved hearing about this. Let's go back to the pumpkins. So we're talking about thousands of pumpkins here. Are there any that are particularly unusual or fun that families should keep an eye on, should keep a lookout for?
Definitely. So there are pumpkins that might be just sitting by themselves. There's several pumpkins that look like they're a bonfire. There's a row of cat pumpkins. But my favorite things are our big displays. So we have a giant spider made of pumpkins, but I will tell you, he's a little spooky, but not scary at all. We've got pumpkin frogs on the pond. I also love, we have a giant owl made of white pumpkins, and that's just a little bit of the fun you'll find. Also, we have pumpkins and some other great things down in our country fair area, which is actually turning into candy corn country. So we make use of everything there is to do with fall, and I'm told this year over 12,000 pumpkins, although I won't know for sure until we start. I may have to go count them for you.
Oh my goodness. I want you to count them when you get the chance and let us know. So, you know, you can't go to Dollywood without eating. You can't attend this festival without enjoying the good food. So what are some of the must-try foods this fall season?
So that is actually one of my very favorite parts of this festival. And one of the best ways to do that is actually with a tasting pass. So our culinary team, I think they have more fun dreaming up the items that are going to be part of our festivals than anything else. And it's everything from appetizers to specialty funnel cakes. I particularly like the sweet treats, like who doesn't want a candy corn sundae or a candy corn cupcake? Those are two of the top things on my list to try. But we have all kinds of savory favorites as well. Stuffed baked potatoes, sandwiches, and of course you can always wash them down with some delicious fall drinks like cider or wild berry tea is what I'm looking most forward to. And I'll give you another hint. We've got so many great entertainment groups that are coming. Hannah Harper, who just won The Voice just a couple of months ago, is going to be here in late September. We have all kinds of other great artists, Rhonda Vincent, whether you like bluegrass or country, Americana, some pop. The best time to enjoy those treats, I think, is when you're listening to one of those great artists who are here during the Harvest Festival.
Absolutely. That sounds like a fun time, Ellen. Now, it is National Roller Coaster Day. We did talk about that a little bit, but which coaster would you recommend for someone who says, I want the biggest nighttime adrenaline rush you've got?
I would say either Wild Eagle, which has two inversions. You might be able to see it behind me. You feel like literally you're flying like an eagle when you ride on Wild Eagle. And Lightning Rod is probably our other most thrilling coaster. But I will tell you, if you're coming with kids, especially ones that maybe don't want to try that much excitement on their first roller coaster, we have several amazing family coasters. Fire Chaser Express, and also Big Bear Mountain right behind me can be thrilling, but it's a great one to take some of the smaller kids on, and you only have to be 39 inches to ride. We did that on purpose so that families can experience that first coaster together. And Night Flight Expedition, which we talked about earlier, is our 11th coaster experience. So come for all those thrills. But if you're like me and want to eat your way through the park and enjoy some great music, literally something for everybody. Great time to come during the Harvest Festival to experience all of that.
Oh my goodness. It sounds like a great experience. Now, I know Dolly does not go to the park all the time. I'm sure she has so much stuff to do. But people want to know, will they see Dolly this fall at the park, or is that a secret?
Well, we kind of try to keep when she's coming a secret, but I will tell you, if you are a Dolly fan, you obviously are going to enjoy Dollywood. We have a whole area called the Dolly Parton Experience, which has a museum. It has a wardrobe experience, which I find so much fun to go in and see some of Dolly's great costumes. And then her niece Heidi has a wonderful show in that same area. And you know what? You might actually see Dolly there through kind of the magic of Dollywood. Only Dolly could do that, right?
Right. That is true, Ellen. One last question for you. Where can people, especially here in Atlanta, go to find a full schedule, tickets, and all the details for the Harvest Festival and the Great Pumpkin Luminites?
Just go to Dollywood.com. If you do need a little more help, you can call 800 Dollywood. Our harvest elves will be in full swing doing that. But you can buy your tickets. You can even buy parking passes. You can even buy your tasting pass. You're all ready to go when you get here. And it lasts all the way through October 31st. And if you want an even later nighttime experience, check out the information about Harvey's Boo Bash, Saturday nights after hours in October.
All right, that sounds good. And all the fall fun at Dollywood starts in September, right?
Absolutely, September 15th. Again, you just let me know when you're going to come, and we'll check out some of those great foods and put you on Night Flight Expedition.
Oh, my goodness. I'm looking forward to this, so I'm going to hold you to it, Ellen. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. Have a great rest of your day. Our time here on Fox Local is 10:32. Great conversation there. When we return, we're going to talk about sports. We'll be right back. Welcome back here to Fox Local. I'm Jasmine Cornell. Thanks for joining our news conversation, and thanks for participating. If you're joining on social media, we can see your comments live here. So thanks for participating. Let's talk about the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. Amari Stoudemire is a Hall of Famer, and he was officially inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame as part of the class of 2026. This happened last night. Let's take a listen to what he said after receiving this honor.
This is incredible. This is incredible. Whew. You know what, first off, I want to thank God, right? Because for me, I was the type of kid who said my prayers every night. I was always the one who obeyed my mom, my parents. I stayed very obedient as far as keeping those laws that God placed for me to follow, and I kept that to my heart, and that helped build my character in the midst of growing up in poverty. I want to thank the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, because without the Naismith Hall of Fame committee and the Board of Governors, I wouldn't be here today. And all the Naismith family for creating the game of basketball, right? This game has brought me so much, and it just gave me so much. I want to thank the fans, all my fans who watched me play, saw me flying through the air, attacking the rim. They appreciated me as well as I appreciate them. My teammates, all my teammates I played with in Phoenix, New York, Miami, they took upon my leadership. I followed their leadership. We happened to build a great camaraderie with each other and build something special in basketball. All the coaches took time out to dedicate their life to basketball, spending time away from their families and really trying and teaching us the game of basketball. As a high school player, I needed that. I needed that type of leadership. Organizations I played for the Phoenix Suns. I was drafted by the great Jerry Colangelo. Rick Welch was the president of operations at the time. And playing for Phoenix as a rookie was important for me. As a high school player, growing up in Florida, you go into the NBA, and it's a different world. And to have an organization that understood that and really brought me in and really molded me as a basketball player helped me to become who I am today. And my basketball journey started back when I was in Lake Wales, Florida. And this journey is a journey of perseverance. Persevering through life, and also basketball was a serious journey for me. My dad, blessed memory, took me to my first basketball game. I saw my cousin, play a high school game. He caught this lob, hung on the rim, and my dad was like, "That's your cousin." And from that point on, I knew I wanted to play basketball. I fell in love with the game. My first basketball I got was from my mom. It was a gift. And that basketball became my best friend, became my therapist. As I traveled through different cities and states, we traveled through Lake Wales, Florida, where it all started. Went from Newburgh, New York, to Port Jervis, New York, to Atlanta, Georgia, to Winter Haven, Florida. And despite the tribulations that we had to face throughout that time, I had my basketball with me. So whenever there was issues or situations I had to deal with, I would go to a court with my basketball, and I would play one-on-one with the imaginary Michael Jordan. I was just engulfed in the game, and it became my therapist. I didn't start playing organized basketball until I was 13 years old. The Orlando Magic became an expansion team, and they created this program called the Junior Magic. When the Junior Magic came about, and we had this game in Lake Wales, I played my first game as a 13-year-old. I got the ball, I took off, I dunked it. The crowd went crazy as if they'd never seen a 13-year-old dunk on someone before. And from that point on, my name started buzzing around my local neighborhood. Then I started traveling, playing YBOA basketball tournaments, playing AAU basketball only in Florida. So now I'm 13, 14 years old, and now my name is being known around the state of Florida. But then I started traveling even more nationally, playing in national tournaments, and I wanted to take this sport to another level. So in high school, when I got to high school my freshman year, I started to go down a path I didn't want to go down. I started hanging out with the wrong crowd, and I went to my JV coach and said, "Coach, man, I got to get out of here. I can't stick around." And for a 15-year-old to make that kind of decision was not easy for me. All my friends and family was in Lake Wales. So my coach said, "Hey, Stat, you got two options. You got Oak Hill Academy or you got Mount Zion." So I said, "Well," he said, "Oak Hill Academy is an all-boys school." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then he said, "You have Mount Zion Academy where Tracy McGrady went."
All right, Amari Stoudemire speaking there after he was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. We will take a listen to some more athletes later this morning. Before we do that, let's go ahead and check in with our Caitlin Pratt. She is out at Piedmont Park. We know that the Piedmont Park Festival, the Arts Festival, is happening today. It starts around 11 o'clock, but she's going to talk about the weather. It's hot outside, and you need to be safe. So let's go ahead and bring in our Caitlin Pratt. And Caitlin, I see you getting your steps in. I can't wait to get outside with you, but we do need to make sure we're drinking water because it is hot.
Piedmont Park, and I have a lot of company this morning despite the heat. A lot of people just trying to get their runs in, their exercise in before the day really heats up. So let's talk about what experts are saying as far as how you can stay cooler, or as cool as you can during this heat, which feels like almost like tripled like hundreds, but really it's not. It's just how it goes here in the South. So experts giving us some advice, saying when it's hot out, you're moving a lot, your body is forced into overdrive. That internal struggle to keep you cool can escalate rapidly if you don't take some precautions. So staying hydrated really is key when temperatures are this high, along with wearing lightweight clothing and limiting outdoor activity. Take a listen.
So as you exercise, you're cheating the blood flow from the heart, called your cardiac output. That can lead to either heat exhaustion, heat injury, or heat stroke, which is a continuum of serious heat illnesses, with heat stroke being the most severe.
Right. So to prevent those severe illnesses, researchers at Georgia Tech working right now on some cutting-edge solutions to spot any danger before those symptoms start. In just about a half an hour's time, what's going to be starting here at Piedmont Park is the Arts Festival. More than 200 vendors. Music is going to start playing. Food, of course, food trucks, and lots of family fun. So hoping to get you caught up on all that activity in the next hour here on Fox Local. In the meantime, though, I'm going to go cool off, find some good shade, stay out of the sun, and try to find some more water, Jasmine.
Sounds good, Caitlin. Looking forward to seeing what the Arts Festival is doing, what people are doing there. And also, you have fun and stay safe and stay cool. We'll check in with you a little bit later. Time is 10:43. We're back with more right after this. Thanks for joining our news conversation here on Fox Local. I'm Jasmine Cornell. Have a lot to get to this morning, but first, a very important conversation. The West Nile virus detected in mosquitoes near Old National Park in South Fulton, and outdoor activities are suspended until further notice. Now, this morning, we're speaking with Dr. Gavin Harris with Emory about the symptoms you should be on the lookout for and precautions you should know about as we head into late summer and early fall. So Dr. Gavin Harris, thanks so much for joining us to talk about the West Nile virus.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes. So first, let's talk about the symptoms here, the most common symptoms that we all should be on the lookout for.
Absolutely. So the first thing, before I even talk about that, I wanted to mention is that there's no human cases yet detected in Georgia, and I just wanted to be clear about that. West Nile virus is the most common mosquito-borne illness in the lower 48 states, and it is not contagious from person to person or from household to household contact. So I just wanted to be clear about that. The second is over 80%, that's 80, over 80% of people who get infected with the West Nile virus will not necessarily show symptoms, and the majority of people will have mild symptoms. And what I mean by that are things what we call flu-like illness symptoms. So fever, rash, headaches, body aches, sometimes nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. But again, the overwhelming majority of people may not show symptoms at all.
Thanks so much for answering those questions and mentioning that there are no known cases here in Georgia. So that's very important to note this morning. Let's talk about who is most at risk of developing a more serious illness from the West Nile. And when is it a good time to call the doctor if they are having those symptoms?
So about 1 in every 150 people who get sick with West Nile virus may develop severe illness, and less than 1% of those may develop even severe symptoms, what we call the neurologic manifestations. But in terms of the people who are most at risk for severe illness, these are people who are older than the age of 65, those who may have underlying chronic medical conditions such as diabetes, kidney disease, heart disease, and also those who may have weakened or suppressed immune systems. And when we talk about the severe illnesses, those are things we're thinking about when the virus may potentially invade the brain or the central nervous system. And we think about things like persistent fevers, severe headaches, any signs or symptoms of confusion, what we call delirium or not knowing where someone is, stiff necks, sometimes feeling like you're weak in your specific muscles, or even at times most severely having things like seizures or even convulsions or tremors. These, of course, are symptoms in which you should always call the doctor regardless of the type of illness that might be afflicting you.
Thanks, Dr. Harris, for providing that information. Now let's talk about this. How does a mosquito carrying the West Nile virus actually transmit the infection?
So the important thing, again, I wanted to bring up and mention, too, is that this is not a contagious virus from person to person. Humans are what we call dead-end hosts, meaning we are almost as a passerby. When we get infected with the virus, the levels of the virus in our blood are actually too low to be transmitted back to a mosquito. But in any case, mosquitoes get this virus from biting infected birds, and then from transmitting that virus itself through their bite to a person, and they unfortunately might become infected. Interestingly, horses are one of the most common hosts or dead-end hosts as well for this virus and are often more sick than humans might be. Dogs and cats can certainly get this virus too, but they rarely, if ever, show symptoms. So again, it's spread through the bite of an infected mosquito, but is not spread through the bite or from a mosquito biting an infected human.
And Dr. Harris, is it safe to say that, we shouldn't be too concerned about the positive mosquito sample found in South Fulton?
So, yes. So the Georgia Department of Health conducts routine mosquito surveillance all throughout the state through the peak months for West Nile virus, and the peaks being, of course, summer and early fall like we're talking about now. Again, there's no human cases, and in my mind, this is a cause for awareness, not necessarily alarm.
Okay, got it there. Cause for awareness. What precautions, if any, should families take if they're spending time outside?
So we think about things that are called the 5 Ds. That's D as in dog. But the 5 Ds for prevention and to reduce risk are really, number one, to limit activities during the dusk and dawn period. These are the periods when the mosquitoes that transmit West Nile are known to be most active. The second D is dress. Watch what we wear. Ideally, and this of course is tough during these summer months and early fall months, loose, long-fitting, light-colored clothing. wear DEET, and DEET is a type of mosquito and insect repellent. Things like also picaridin are very effective as well, but repellent is very important. Drain. So if there's any standing water around homes, around other buildings, to make sure this water is drained, there's no stagnant water. This is where mosquitoes breed. And then lastly, to ensure that cracks in doors and windows are sealed to prevent mosquitoes from entering homes. The 5 Ds of prevention are probably the most important things that people can do to reduce their risk.
Thanks so much for sharing. Very important information there. Any final thoughts here about the West Nile virus and what people need to be doing right now?
Not necessarily. I think, again, things like common sense, prevention. This is a virus that is incredibly common. Most people will not develop severe symptoms if they develop symptoms at all. So again, it's really a cause for awareness, not a cause for alarm.
Dr. Harris, thanks so much for joining us to have this conversation. Really appreciate you taking the time out your day to talk to us. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys, our time here is 10:52. When we return on Fox Local, we will head back outside and take a look at an event happening right now with our Eli Jordan. You don't want to miss this story. We'll be right back. Welcome back here to our news conversation here on Fox Local. I'm Jasmine Cornell. Let's get you outside where our Eli Jordan is. He is at the Grant Park Farmers Market. A lot of people out there this Sunday morning getting some local produce and stopping by the vendors. Eli, tell us what's happening out there and who you've been able to speak to.
Hey, good morning, Jasmine. Yeah, the Grant Park Farmers Market at 1030 Grant Street, almost all the way at the end of the street to the Belt Line. And this happens every Sunday from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. And I found, like, if you're trying to figure out what else to put on that charcuterie board, well, I found a bridge over troubled water with a rosemary, thyme creamery here out of Lafayette, Georgia. They make their own sheep cheese, and there's Brent Smith right there. He's a sheep shepherd. He milks his own sheep, and he makes cheese, and that's what he is doing out here. It's one of the more popular booths. We're going to talk to him in just a second as he gets wrapped up with his customer. But also, too, we got Diamond Hill Farms. You can get your flowers over here, real beautiful flowers over here, and squash, onions, and peppers, and all that. Might be talking to them a little bit later. And then over here, we got the fresh farm eggs. But the subject at hand here is the cheese. We found the cheese. Brent Smith, thank you for talking with us today. You're a busy man today.
Well, I'm trying to be.
And so you make sheep cheese.
Yes, we milk the sheep. We make the cheese on the farm.
And so this made right here in Georgia. So how popular is sheep cheese? Do people kind of shy away from it, thinking about sheep's milk, and why sheep?
Well, one, sheep's milk makes great cheese. Some of the best cheeses in the world are made out of sheep's milk. And we have different varieties, but we allow everybody to sample our cheeses for those who do not know what sheep cheese is all about. So it's an education process as well as a sales process.
So how would you describe the texture and flavor of typical sheep cheese?
Sweeter and creamier than cow's milk or goat's milk.
And when people go to a store, let's say the grocery store, they see feta cheese. What is that normally?
Real feta is sheep or goat or a combination of sheep and goat. Halloumi is a sheep's milk cheese. Roquefort's a sheep's milk cheese. Pecorinos are all sheep milk cheeses. Manchego is a sheep's milk cheese as well.
So a lot of us are already eating probably some sheep milk cheese, not even realizing it.
Exactly.
And so how long have you been selling sheep cheese?
This is our 6th year of production.
And is it sustainable? Are you guys holding up? Is it popular?
It's popular. Yeah, it's popular. People love it. We've sold out every year of production so far.
And are you? How often are you here at this booth?
We are every Sunday at Grant Park at the end of the farmers section.
Here at go in, take a right at the very end, right here in the shade, which is great. He's got the cheesy booth. And so you're out of Lafayette, Georgia. That's just north of Somerville, where Howard Finster and Paradise Garden is, just north of there. So tell me, you guys have a shearing event as well?
We do. The Saturday after Thanksgiving every year, we shear the sheep. We have a shearer come in from Tennessee to do it. Starts about 9:30 in the morning, ends a little afternoon. They'll shear probably 80 to 90 head of sheep, and you can come watch them get their hair cut. And we'll have mutton stew and shepherd's pie, and it's just a fun day.
What do they do with all the wool?
We give it away.
Give it away.
So spinners come and take some, artisans come and take some home with them, and then what's left goes to a gardener who uses them as natural mulch.
It sounds like raising sheep is quite sustainable. I mean, all the way around. I mean, you use the wool, you use the milk, and the meat as well.
Yes, and we have the meat, and then they are also very good for pastures. We use regenerative farming, so they help our pastures get better just by being on them and eating the grass.
So real quick, if I'm sitting at home and I'm watching this, I'm like, ooh, I want to try some cheese. Can I get online and order some?
RosemaryandThyme.com, RosemaryandThymeCreamery.com. You can text us or email us, and we will tell you where you can pick it up. Or we will ship it, but you'll spend a lot of money in shipping.
Yeah, you got to ice it down and everything too, yes. Because this doesn't do well when you're sitting out. It's pretty good when it's cool.
Cool. Yeah.
Right? And so the website is RosemaryandThymeCreamery.com.
Correct.
And that's where they can find where you're going to be at a booth next, and that's the best place to find you.
Yes.
But you're out here every Sunday at the Grant Park Farmers Market. Just come out here and we'll find you. And this is tasty, good stuff. Well, Brent Smith, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Rosemary and Thyme Creamery.
You want to try some cheese?
He's selling some cheese, Jasmine. And it's really good cheese.
Chamberlain
Never had it before. It's nutty.
All right,
flavorful,
Eli.
and good. We'll kick it back to you.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I love me some cheese. So, maybe you should bring us back some here at the station. Time is 10:59. We're back with a look at your weather forecast after this. Good morning. Thanks for joining us this Sunday morning here on Fox Local. I want to get you right out to breaking news this morning. We know that 2 people have died after an early morning house fire in Southwest Atlanta. Our Kim Leffler is at the scene. She joins us live now. Kim, what do we know so far?
Hey, Jasmine, good morning to you. Yeah, crews have been on scene here for nearly 7 hours now. If you take a look, this is the home where 2 people were found dead early this morning. Now, here's a look at some video that we got when we first got on scene. We know firefighters arrived here a little after 4:15 this morning. When they got here, they found heavy fire on the first floor of his home that also has a basement. They say the fire took over the whole house from the carport to the attic, as well as the sleep areas, and eventually got into the basement as well. Firefighters were told to evacuate the house because the fire was just too intense and enter a defensive mode until conditions improved and they could get back inside. That's when they found 2 people inside of the home that did not survive. They say the cause of the fire is still under investigation. And I have been talking with neighbors since I've been out here this morning. They tell me the man that lived in this home was right around 50 years old, just under 50 years old. And they say he's lived in the neighborhood here for quite some time. But again, the cause of the fire here is still under investigation. But we do know 2 people have been found dead here. I did see their bodies being brought out of the home just before 10 o'clock. And it was a really heavy moment here in the neighborhood. A lot of neighbors were hugging each other. We saw family members that were hugging each other as well. So everyone here just really devastated to hear this. We don't have the victims' identities at this point, but of course, as soon as those are released, we'll share those with you. Jasmine.
Kim, thanks so much for joining us to talk about this situation. Very sad story out of that area, and looking forward to hearing from some of the residents there about the family as they remember the family. Kim, thanks so much for joining us to talk about this. All right, guys, let's take a live look outside. Take a live look at downtown Atlanta this morning as we prepare to talk about weather. A pretty nice day outside. That site is very beautiful. Our meteorologist, Alex Forbes, joins us to talk about the sweltering temperatures and what you can expect in the coming days.
Yeah, so the heat is on. It's on full blast. I tried finding the thermostat somewhere. Cannot control it, unfortunately, because if I could, it would be sunny and 75. That's always the funny thing, is that there are a handful of people out there who think we can control the weather, and
wow,
I hate to break it to you, but we cannot. And the proof is today, because if we could, today would not be happening across the metro area. So let's get to it. It is 11 a.m. and it's already 89 in Atlanta, 87 in Canton, 86 in Gainesville. We've wasted no time warming up. 88 in Athens, 90 in Eatonton, 84 in Thomaston, and 88 over in LaGrange. Now, if it's 89 in Atlanta, you want to take a stab at the heat index? Here you go. 97 degrees at 11:04 in the morning, 95 in Canton, 99 in Athens, 91 in Thomaston. Of course, that factors in the humidity, and that is the best indicator of the impact on the human body. Have a heat advisory in effect for heat index values between 105 and 110 here through the afternoon and into the evening. This heat advisory is going to go all the way through the overnight hours and into tomorrow. It lasts until 8 p.m. Monday. And there's a strong likelihood that it's extended beyond that. That's just how long it lasts until right now. If you're looking up towards northeast Georgia, you're seeing that Pickens, Gilmer, Fannin, Dawson, over towards Lumpkin, White, Union Towns, Rabun, Habersham counties, all not included in this. No, it's not Antarctica up there, no polar bears, but you are sitting just below the heat advisory criteria, which is why, unfortunately, you are not in it. So, well, here's what you need to know. Plenty of water, beverages with electrolytes, Powerade, Gatorade, you know what I'm talking about. Lightweight, loose-fitting, light-colored clothing, regular breaks in the shade, and so forth. Now, let's talk about the high temperatures over the next couple of days. Looking for 95 today, 98 tomorrow. That has the potential to tie our hottest day of the year. We have yet to reach 100 degrees. It is entirely possible that we do that tomorrow. Not a guarantee, obviously, but it is in the cards before we're slightly cooler into next weekend. So out the door today, looking for mostly clear skies. There will be a handful of showers and storms focused mainly south and east of the city, but only a 20% chance for some wet weather today in metro Atlanta and North Georgia. 96 in Canton, 96 over in Gainesville, 97 in Covington, 98 in Athens, and 97 in Eatonton here through the afternoon. Only a 20% chance of rain today, and then 20% for Monday and Tuesday before we are completely dry there on Wednesday. Best chance of rain comes our way on Friday. Temperatures dropping a bit, but into next week, so this week and next, next. I'm expecting all these numbers to stay above the norm, which is now between 87 and 89 for the next 2 weeks, and that's going to take us into the end of August. I'm hoping for the end of August there is some signal, some little flashing light way off in the distance that there could be a brief taste of fall. Maybe overnight lows mid-60s and some dry air. Right. So I'm not talking about 50s, anything like that, but it's just like a little teaser maybe for a Labor Day-ish time frame.
Okay, well, I'm still hoping for the 90s in August.
Oh, you got it. You got it, no doubt.
And in September.
I don't know about that one, but you got August.
All right, Alex, thanks so much for joining us. Let's take a look at this story out of Paulding County and take a look at some video there. The Paulding County coroner calling for a coroner's inquest into the 2017 death of Heather Turner. So we get that video there soon. There is Heather Turner on your screen. Now, again, the coroner has called for this inquest into the 2017 death of Heather Turner to bring some clarity to this long disputed case. Paulding County Coroner Lindsay Eberhardt Fuller held this news conference on Thursday to discuss her decision to review the 2017 death of Heather Turner and announce details regarding an upcoming coroner's inquest. Let's take a listen to what she said on Thursday.
All right. Good afternoon. My name is Lindsay Eberhardt Fuller, and I'm the coroner for Paulding County. Approximately 2 weeks ago, I announced my decision to convene a coroner's inquest into the death of Heather Turner. Today, I want to provide the specific details of that proceeding, explain what an inquest is and what it is not, and clarify the role of the coroner's office and let the public know what to expect moving forward. The inquest is scheduled to begin in January 2027. It will be held in the jury assembly room of the Paulding County Courthouse. Before I explain the proceeding itself, I want to briefly explain the role of the coroner because there are often misconceptions about what this office does and why it exists. The coroner's office is not a law enforcement agency. We do not arrest people, we do not prosecute people, we do not determine criminal guilt, and we do not process crime scenes in the way that a sheriff's office or a local police department does. We also do not perform autopsies. When a forensic examination is necessary, the work is performed by the medical examiner. The coroner has a separate and important responsibility in the death investigation process. We pronounce death when appropriate, take responsibility for the deceased as provided by law, gather information surrounding the death, work with the medical examiner when further examination is necessary, and carry an independent responsibility in determining and certifying the cause and manner of death. Much of that work happens quietly and behind the scenes. The coroner exists to fulfill an independent responsibility to the deceased, to make certain the death is examined carefully and documented responsibly and certified according to the law. Law enforcement, the medical examiner, and the coroner each perform different but related functions. We have different responsibilities within the same process. And that brings me to Heather. Before I speak about statutes, jurors, or procedure, I want to speak about the person that is at the center of all of this. Her name was Heather Turner. For almost a decade, Heather's name has been surrounded by news coverage, theories, opinions, speculation, and public debate. But Heather Turner was more than how she died. She was not a headline. She was not a case file. She was not a case to close. She was a person. And I think over the years, many people have lost sight of that. There were people who knew her voice, her laugh, her personality, and the ordinary parts of her life long before the circumstances of her death became the subject of public discussion. Heather Turner is why this process matters. Her death deserves to be examined through a process that is fair, impartial, transparent, and provided for by the law. I also want to address why this process is taking place now. Georgia law provides that a coroner's jury cannot be impaneled until the investigation has been completed and the required investigative and medical reports have been received. The investigation into Heather's death remained open for nearly 9 years and was closed in February of this year. Until that investigation was completed, an inquest was not a process this office could properly move forward with. Once it was closed, I was able for the first time to fully consider whether an inquest is appropriate, and I determined that it is. Coroner's inquests are not held often, and they should not be. Most deaths can be appropriately resolved without convening a jury. But there are cases in which an additional formal examination is warranted, and Georgia law provides a process for those circumstances. Heather's case warrants that process. So, what is an inquest? An inquest is a legal proceeding in which a jury hears evidence and sworn testimony surrounding a death and makes a determination regarding the manner of that death. It is not a criminal trial. It is not a prosecution. It is not an accusation against any person or persons. And it is not an investigation of another agency. Its purpose is narrow and specific to determine how Heather Turner died. The jury will determine whether the manner of death was homicide, suicide, accident, natural causes, or undetermined. The Sheriff's Office has conducted its investigation and publicly announced its conclusion. The Medical Examiner's Office has also reached its conclusion. I respect the responsibilities of both of these agencies and the professionals that are involved. But a public announcement by another agency is not the process Georgia law provides for the coroner's office to fulfill its own responsibility regarding the manner of death. That process is the inquest. I was not entrusted with this office to borrow someone else's judgment. I was entrusted with it to exercise my own responsibly. That is not a criticism of another agency. It is an acknowledgement that each of us has different responsibilities within the death investigation process, and I am accountable for mine. 5 jurors and 1 alternate will be selected through the appropriate court process. The jury will hear the evidence presented, receive sworn testimony, and be provided the records and materials necessary to consider the circumstances of Heather's death as a whole. At the conclusion of the proceeding, the 5 jurors will make a determination regarding the manner of death. I do not have a predetermined outcome. Convening this inquest should not be interpreted as a conclusion by me that Heather's death was a homicide, suicide, or any other manner of death. An inquest begins with a question, not a predetermined answer. If I had already decided what the answer should be, there would be no legitimate purpose in asking a jury to make that determination. And I want to be equally clear about what happens when this process is complete. I trust this process. I trust the jury to hear the evidence, listen to the sworn testimony, consider the materials placed before them, and make the determination the law asks them to make. And whatever that verdict is, I will accept it and I will follow the law. I'm asking the public to trust this process, and I intend to demonstrate that same trust myself. That also means I have an obligation to protect its integrity before it begins. I will not discuss specific pieces of evidence that will be presented. I will not preview sworn testimony. I will not publicly evaluate witnesses or debate isolated portions of this case before they are heard in the proper forum. That is not secrecy, and it is not a lack of transparency. It is the responsibility that comes with asking the public to trust this process. What I can promise is that the jury will be given all the evidence, sworn testimony, records, and materials necessary to make a fair and impartial determination. They will hear this case as a whole, not in fragments, not through headlines, and not through public discussion, because the truth should be able to withstand questions. And asking those questions in the proper forum is not an accusation. It is the purpose of the process that Georgia law allows. I cannot promise closure to Heather's family. No proceeding can undo her death or restore the years that have passed. What I can promise is clarity through a fair and lawful process. A process where sworn testimony is heard, the information is presented, and a jury is given what it needs to make an independent and impartial determination. For nearly a decade, Heather Turner's death has been discussed publicly, analyzed in pieces, and viewed through competing opinions. This inquest is not intended to add another voice to that public debate. It is intended to move this matter from public debate into the lawful process provided for exactly this purpose. It will not begin with an assumption. It will not begin with a preferred conclusion. It will begin with the evidence, the sworn testimony, and a jury entrusted to consider the whole of it fairly. Heather Turner was more than how she died. But how she died is the question this proceeding is charged with answering. My goal is not a particular answer. My goal is a process worthy of that question. I trust that process. I will respect the jury's verdict. I will follow the law. Heather deserves that. The public should expect that. And this office will provide it. Thank you. If anybody has any questions, I'll take a few of those as well.
I'm Ashley Webb with Channel 2. Why did you feel a coroner's inquest?
Again, you just heard there the Paulding County coroner speaking in this news conference to discuss her decision to review the 2017 death of Heather Turner and announce details regarding the upcoming coroner's inquest. Now, that coroner's inquest set to start in January. Of course, we'll keep you updated on this story that we've been following here on Fox Local and on our broadcast shows as well. Our time is 11:17. Let's bring it back here into the newsroom. I want to talk about what Fox 5 is working on and following up on today. And let's bring in our Sasha Stevens, that is. Sorry, Sasha. She is our assignment desk editor, and she's going to talk about those stories this Sunday morning. Hey there, Sasha.
Good morning, Jasmine. So our first story we're going to talk about today is out of Loganville. So Loganville police tell us they responded to a vehicle accident on Georgia Highway 81 near Terra Commons Drive on Saturday. The at-fault driver fled the scene, with witnesses saying he fired shots. The Walton County Sheriff's Office came out to assist the Loganville Police Department. They deployed K9, but were not able to find the suspect. Officers on scene said they couldn't confirm that shots were fired. Luckily, the occupants in the other vehicle only suffered minor injuries. This information we just got in from Loganville Police. They say they have identified the driver as Jacob Connell. They have issued arrest warrants for his arrest, and the charges will be failure to maintain lane, hit and run, possession of marijuana, and possession of cocaine. So like I said, Connell is still not in custody, but police are asking anyone with information about this case to call 911.
All right, there a big situation there out of Loganville police, but no one was injured in this situation, correct, Sasha?
They said the other driver was injured, but it was only minor, so...
Minor
luckily.
Injuries. All right. Well, some good news out of that story there. Let's move forward to a story that is top on our website here with the LaGrange council member resigning.
Definitely. LaGrange City Council member Marquavius Bodie resigned after pleading guilty to public indecency and obstruction charges. Court records that we received tell us that Bodie exposed himself in an office at LaGrange College back in February and lied to GBI investigators about the incident when asked. LaGrange Mayor Jim Arrington announced Bodie's resignation on Saturday, stating it was effective immediately. Bodie was appointed to the LaGrange City Council back in 2023, serving the district's 2. We have learned that Bodie has been sentenced to 2 years of probation for this incident. So what we don't know yet is the city officials when they plan to announce filling Bodie's vacant seat, but we'll definitely continue to check on that.
Very interesting story here out of LaGrange. This official resigned after pleading guilty to public indecency, exposing himself. Definitely some more questions that I have here in this story, Sasha.
Definitely.
All right, let's move forward. Some shooting investigations underway in the Metro Atlanta area.
The first shooting we're going to talk about is out of Atlanta. Atlanta police are investigating a person that was shot on the 2000 block of Martin Luther King Jr. Drive yesterday. Atlanta police tell us that a man was shot and drove himself to the hospital. That man is currently alert, breathing, and conscious. No suspect in this case yet, so Atlanta police are still investigating. Another shooting, this one out of Clayton County. Clayton police tell us that they responded to the 400 block of Sylvia Drive in Forest Park in reference to a person shot. When officers arrived, they located a 26-year-old man suffering from a gunshot wound to the leg. That man was transported to the local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries as well. The circumstances surrounding that shooting are still being investigated. And like the other shooting, no suspect in custody yet. So Atlanta police and Clayton police, 2 different shootings, they're still investigating.
All right, Sasha, thanks so much for joining us. We'll check back in with you in about an hour to talk about these stories. Thanks again for the update. Our time here is 11:21. We're back with what's trending right after this. Good morning. Thanks so much for joining us here on Fox Local. Have our Nohely Rose with us to talk about what's trending on Fox Local and our website, fox5atlanta.com. A lot of great stories to get to, Nohely. This first one you've been a part of.
I have. We had a really great weekend this weekend. All of my stories for today are from this weekend, and I'm very excited about it. So the NABJ had their convention this weekend for 2026, and we had hundreds of leading industry leaders. We have a video that we can play for you now. Hundreds of industry leaders and professionals and people that were looking to break into the media world wrapped up this year's convention for the National Association for Black Journalists yesterday, which is Saturday. I think they also had a brunch today, but it was mostly from yesterday. Among those honored this year was Beatrice Peterson. She was awarded Journalist of the Year. Now, Beatrice, I got a chance to speak with her, spend some time with her, hang out with her. She is funny, kind, intelligent, a lot of accolades, so I'm glad that she got Journalist of the Year. But also in this year's convention, we have Sidmel Estes. Now, she was a journalist, and you see her here in the video. She was a journalist, but she was also a longtime Fox 5 Atlanta employee. She was also the first executive producer of Good Day Atlanta, and she was posthumously inducted into the 2026 NABJ Hall of Fame. She was one of 7 inductees in this year's class, and they had in the ceremony, they featured a tribute video, which is what we're looking at here, and they also had speeches from her 2 sons, and we're going to take a listen.
I know she wouldn't have it no other way but having it here in Atlanta, where she's left a lasting impact on many of y'all, each and every one of us. And I know she would definitely have a message, just as many of you have had, for all journalists here. And she would basically say, continue to push the envelope. It's okay to rock the boat sometimes. Stand out and understand things have changed, and it might be a little bit more harder, but there's still always opportunities out there, and to take advantage of those opportunities.
My mom had an interview that she had done years way before I had even met my wife, and somehow my wife found it. Don't know how, but towards the end of that interview, the interviewer asked her, what do she wants to be remembered as or by? She said a woman of truth, a woman that loves her profession, and a woman that just stay with her kids. And everybody in this room, 95% of people in this room know that that's what she stood on. So thank you all for just giving her the privilege to get her flowers, regardless if it's been past due. But thank you all for just inducting her, and thank you all.
Estes joined Fox 5
and allowing us to represent her. Thank you.
Estes joined Fox 5 in 1979, and she started as an assignment editor. Then she moved up the ranks before ultimately leaving the station in 2006 after 27 years. And she helped turn Good Day Atlanta into a top morning show, but not just here for Good Day Atlanta. She turned Good Day as a top morning show all across the Fox television network. So I think that is so cool, and congratulations to her and her kids.
Absolutely, and this is a great honor here. Glad to see that she received this award. Now, you've been able to speak to a lot of people at the conference. NABJ, I didn't get to go out to any of the festivities.
It was great.
I do want to hear more about what you did with NABJ.
I joined really last minute. So if you were here in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom or in Fox 5 Atlanta at all, you would have seen a lot of us missing this week. The last couple days, people took vacation, they took time off, they came to NABJ conference before or after their shifts. I went to all of the parties except for one day party yesterday, and then I'm here today, so I didn't go to the brunch. But all kinds of panels, award ceremonies, parties. It was just a really great time. I was really glad to be a part of it. And it was my first one.
I was going to ask, was this your first one?
Yes. It was my first one. I should have prepared better for it. The next one is in Texas next year, so I'm going to prepare from now for that. But it was a great time, and I got to meet a lot of really great, cool people.
That's awesome. A great networking event for sure. People from all across the nation attend this conference.
Yeah, it was a really great time. Something else that I want to talk about that also happened this weekend, Mr. Joshua Baez. Now, this one I'm really excited about because I love baseball. So Joshua is a St. Louis Cardinals rookie, and he debuted yesterday. So let me tell you a little bit about him. If you don't know who this is, he is a rookie, and he had his first game yesterday, and he introduced himself with 3 home runs. We have a video of that as well. Okay. The Cardinals played the Chicago Cubs yesterday on Saturday, and at the top of the first inning was his first MLB at-bat. Not only that, it was the first pitch that he saw, and he blasted the pitch 449 feet, dead center field there he is. We get to see him swing a bat here. So they played against the Cubs yesterday, first at-bat, first ball that he saw. He hit the home run, and he had 2-run home run, bringing in a 3-0. So we had the first 3 home runs because of him in this hit, and there's more. So his second at bat, he hit it out to left field for a solo home run, and he gave the Cardinals their lead again, 4-3. But he wasn't done there. So in the first, at the top of the 6th inning, he finished the trifecta with a 2-run home run to right field, helping his team win the game 8-4. Now, personally, I couldn't be more excited about it because not because I'm a Cardinals fan. I mean, I might be after this.
I was going to say, are you a Cardinals fan?
I'm not a Cardinals fan, but I might be after this because, like me, he's from Dominican Republic, which is what I'm most excited about. He was born in Massachusetts. He moved to Santo Domingo when he was an infant. He came back to Boston when he was 6 years old, and he didn't even know English. He used to use Google Translate to communicate with people.
Wow.
And I heard about the story yesterday because my best friend Lonnie showed me the video. He knows I love baseball. We were watching the World Classic this year. We're watching my Dominican team. He showed me these home runs, and he was talking about this rookie. And I was like, I bet you he's Dominican. And he's like, I don't know about that. Let's Google it. Let's look him up. And he's like, oh, this guy's from Boston. And I was like, right. But where's his family from? I bet he's Dominican. And lo and behold, he is from Dominican Republic. I couldn't be more excited for this young man.
This is pretty awesome here. Cardinals rookie, and you said you do pay attention to baseball.
I do.
And you may be a Rockies fan now.
I am. I'm going to be a Cardinals fan just because of him.
Oh, not a Rockies fan, a Cardinals fan, I mean. So what was your team before this?
So I'm a Boston Red Sox person, and some of you may know that I moved here from New York City about 1.5 years ago, so I should be a Yankees fan. I'm a problem child. I'm a problem child because I'm a Yankees fan if they're not playing Boston.
Okay.
And I'm a Boston fan every other time, all the time, even if they're playing the Yankees. But I will go for Yankees. They're a great team, and I will go for them if they're not playing.
So why Boston?
The Red Sox. Well, initially it was because of Big Papi Ortiz. Now he's retired, but I'm a Big Papi fan, so I was a Boston fan. And then I kind of just stayed a Boston fan because my brother's a Red Sox fan, and my brother is my idol, the love of my life. I look up to him. He's 12 years older than me, so he's a grandpa, literally. And yeah, so. So I love the Red Sox now. I'm gonna stay with them forever and ever and ever. And then when the Yankees play any other team, I'm a Yankees fan because they are a really great team.
I understand. I felt that way about football. You know,
who's your team?
The Cowboys and the Chiefs.
Ah.
I did say I was going to root for the Falcons now, but just when the Chiefs aren't playing.
See, I'm not a football fan, but I guess I'm a Falcons fan now just because I live in Atlanta, Georgia.
Well, that's good. I'm still going to root for the Chiefs when the Falcons aren't playing, if that makes sense. Always will root for the Chiefs.
It makes sense to me.
Okay.
So staying on the weekend, we have a record that SpaceX just hit. So the record is for the shortest time between orbital flights. So SpaceX launches far more frequently than any other orbit, and it operates the largest satellite constellation ever assembled, and that's called the Starlink broadband network, which consists of nearly 11,000 satellites and counting, because you know he's going to throw more things into the sky. So here's what they have a record for. Yesterday, SpaceX launched 2 Falcon 9 rockets just 38 minutes apart, beating its old record, which was set on August 31st, 2024. with 2 Starlink missions by 27 minutes. So they beat their old record by 27 minutes. The first liftoff was from Florida's Cape Canaveral, from the Space Force space station, and that occurred on Saturday night, last night at 9:12 p.m. And they carried 8 satellites to low Earth orbit, which they call LEO. Now, while that Falcon 9 was doing its thing, another one launched from Vandenberg Space Force Station, Vandenberg Space Force Base. Try saying that 3 times. And that's in California, and it launched at 9:50 p.m. Both rocket landings were successful, and the tally for 2026 so far for Falcon 9 launches reached 96. So they have launched Falcon 9s into space 96 times just this year. Now, I don't know about you, but I want to go to space.
I don't want to go to space, but I think that's great. I think you should go to space. I'll be rooting for you down here at the bottom. Tell me what you see when you come back.
I think it would be so cool if they ever do another, like, pay to fly, pay to go to space situation, walk on the space station situation. I would go. You wouldn't go to space?
No.
I love doing things
on
like
the ground.
that. No.
I barely want to skydive.
I was about to say I love skydiving. I like scuba diving. I like being in the extreme elements. So I would go to space.
Okay, I think that's awesome. You know, like I said, you go to space and let me know what it looks like up there.
I will.
Bring us back some beautiful pictures.
We'll do, and we'll play them here on Fox 5 Atlanta.
Absolutely. No, Helly, thanks so much for joining us to talk about what's trending and all these top stories. Enjoy this conversation, especially the conversation about the National Association for Black Journalists not competition, but the conference. So
it was a great time. Thank you for having me.
That's awesome. Our time here is 11:35. We're back with more right after this. Welcome back here to our news conversation here on Fox Local. I'm going to zoom into myself here. Thanks so much for joining us and being a part of this conversation. Let's get into this top story that we've been following this week, a local story. So a 14-year-old student is facing charges now. He faced a judge on Thursday for the first time after allegedly opening fire inside a Warner Robins High School. That is Warner Robins High School. That is the name of the school. So this fight escalated to a shooting, according to officials, in a bathroom at the high school around 2:15 p.m. on Wednesday. Investigators say the 9th grader shot a classmate and then ran out of the school building. Now, the injured student, who is also a 9th grader, was hospitalized for non-life-threatening injuries, according to the Paulding County Sheriff's Office. A school resource officer stayed with the victim and applied tourniquets. Police caught the 14-year-old suspect, identified as Denzel Willis Jr., in a neighborhood across from campus shortly after the shooting. The judge denied bond during Thursday's first court appearance. I want to take you back to that day. Let's take a listen to the suspect here, the 14-year-old suspect in court on Thursday.
Mr. Willis, are you Denzel D'Angelo Willis Jr.?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you were born in November 2011?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a lawyer yet, Mr. Willis? Okay, are you his mama? Is it your intention to hire one? Okay. Do you want to see if he qualifies to have one appointed, or you want to wait on that? We'll wait on that. Okay. So here's the way it works: is if for whatever reason you don't hire a lawyer, or that doesn't work out, and you want to see if you qualify to have one appointed, you need to contact Ms. Camp, who is the court's indigent defense coordinator, and I'm going to get you a card. Ms. English, I'll hand you a card. Do you have that? If Ms. Cooper takes the case and files an entry of appearance, that's fine. But just know that that's what you'll need to do, okay? Mr. Willis, and you are 14, is that right? Okay. So what we're doing today is what we call a first appearance hearing. I'm going to tell you what the charges are, tell you what happens next, okay? You have been charged, Mr. Edwards. Do you want to go through the charges for the
I certainly will, Judge. I'm charged by way of 5 warrants today. The first, appeared here in my stack, is the count of aggravated assault with a firearm. That is the charge that gets Mr. Willis, given his age, 14 years old, into Superior Court, to start out at the juvenile court. He's charged with having committed that offense yesterday, Wednesday, August 12, 2026. He's also got a warrant charging him with by receiving stolen property, an allegation of stolen firearm. That also occurred yesterday on Wednesday, August 12, 2026. The third warrant I have is disrupting operation of a public school, occurring on the same date. The fourth is carrying weapons within a school safety zone, occurring on the same date. And the fifth is a count of possession of a handgun by a person under the age of 18 years, that also occurred yesterday, August 12th.
All right, Mr. Willis, you have the right to remain silent. Any statement you make can be used against you. You have the right to have a lawyer. And as I've explained, if you can't afford to hire a lawyer, the court will appoint one for you. Okay? It sounds like your mama is on that. But if you want an opinionated attorney, you have to fill out an affidavit, or your mama has to give us some information about your finances to see if you qualify. Okay? You have the right to what we call a pre-indictment probable cause hearing, unless you are released on bond or there's a grand jury indictment prior to that, okay? Regardless, at some point, you have the right for your case to be presented to the grand jury. That's simply a group of folks in Paulding County who serve 6 months at a time, and they are a check or balance to make sure that there's some basis for the DA to bring these charges, okay? You also have the right to jury trial because you're charged in Superior Court as an adult. You can have your case presented to the jury if you choose to. Next, grand jury, for purposes of indictment, meets
That would be
next week or next week.
I'm thinking that this next week.
Next Tuesday. Okay, so the next grand jury convenes Tuesday, Was that the 22nd? The 18th. Tuesday, the 18th. Mr. Willis, that doesn't mean the VA has to present it to them. They'll have to do it at some time, and they basically meet mostly every other Tuesday. But the next possible day, or the earliest possible day, would be next Tuesday, August the 18th. If at any time you wish to waive your rights and enter a guilty plea, you can notify the court or the law enforcement officer who's custody you're in, and we'll make those arrangements, okay? If you have any questions about your rights. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna David, yeah, we let him have those photos. Okay. Mr. Willis, what I'm handing you is just a written version of what I just told you, okay? And if you would like, I'll make sure there's a copy provided to your mom.
Again, the teen charged in the Warner Robins High School shooting in court for the first time this past Thursday. Now, Willis faces charges including aggravated assault with a firearm, disrupting public schools, receiving stolen property, possession of a handgun by someone under 18, and possession of a gun in a school safety zone. Authorities have not provided an update on the condition of the injured student or confirm what weapon was used in this incident, but we'll bring you updates as we learn more. Again, that teen has been denied bond and identified as 14-year-old Denzel Willis Jr. Our time here on Fox Local is 11:45. We're back with some positive news right after this. Thanks for joining us here on Fox Local. I'm Jasmine Cornell. Thanks for joining this news conversation, a little bit different from your traditional broadcast. Just took a look at some of the comments there this morning. Thanks so much for participating in this conversation and weighing in. No teleprompter here on Fox Local. We are just speaking from notes. So thanks so much for bearing with us and, coming into the comments section. Let's get out to this very special story here. So this mother, a Gwinnett County mother, that is opening a new school for kids with autism. For her, it is more than just an educational program. It is a passion project born right out of her home. Our Tara Jabor has more on the story and when it will open its doors.
The mother I spoke to told me she wanted to start the school because one of her sons is autistic, and she felt like her son wasn't getting the special education that he needed. Benicia Morton knows what it's like to struggle to find the help she needs for her son, Ezekiel.
For many years, I've been navigating the school systems, different doctor's appointments, just trying to figure out how we can provide him with intervention services. They are expected to fit in a system that's just not made for them.
Soon she is opening Ezekiel Preparatory Academy in Lilburn, a school for children with autism with individual curriculums to cater to each student. There will be 7 classrooms with 12 children and 2 teachers per classroom.
4.5 hours of academic curriculum with the ELA. They'll receive their math, they'll receive their science, they'll receive their social studies. But the rest of the day, which is about 2.5 hours, they'll receive social, emotional support with our licensed practitioner counselors.
The goal is to make sure that every child in the classroom has enough one-on-one attention with teachers and counselors to help them be successful. Carter Robbins says it's about addressing every need the child has.
We are addressing every single need that child have. We have individualized education plans for that particular child. So many parents out there that really, really need this.
Morton's goal is to have 72 students in kindergarten in September. Then each year they will add 1 grade until they have classes up to the 5th grade. She hopes the new school can be a place of hope for parents who are looking for the right fit for their child.
Hoping that they are able to finally take that deep breath and say, oh, thank God I have found the place for my son, for my daughter, and they can take that break and just really let go, knowing that their child is safe in their educational environment.
And the school opens on September 8th. We have more information on our website, fox5atlanta.com. Reporting in Lilburn, Tara Jabor, Fox 5 News.
All right, Tara, thanks for bringing our attention to this story here out of Gwinnett County. Let's move forward and talk about another positive story here. Eli Jordan is out at out at Grant Park. Yes, he is there for a farmer's market. Let's bring him in and hear what is happening at this farmer's market.
Hey, Jack.
Hey, Eli.
I'm here at the Grant Park. Hey. I'm on Grant Street, actually. It's at 1030 Grant Street. It's all the way at the end of Grant Street, almost to the belt line, but it's 1030 Grant Street. It's not in the park proper, but it's in the neighborhood of Grant Park. But yes, it is the Community Farmers Market. CFM is helping sponsor this, but every Sunday they have it here. And I'm at the Diamond Hill Farms booth, and they got some really cool stuff. Check out these flowers. Oh, the beautiful flowers. This is all grown in Athens. And more flowers over here. This is just really cool. Lovely flowers that will brighten a room. Believe me, I like to put flowers in my house and all that good stuff. And they also have tasty, tasty vegetables here. And they also have some zinnias, and zinnias are nice. But all sorts of good stuff. And they got some beautiful okra here. And okra is basically, okra came from West Africa. They brought it to Louisiana to help thicken up dishes, and okra means gumbo in West African. So there's your little lesson in okra. But joining me now is Megan McDonald with Diamond Hill Farms. Hey, Megan, how you doing?
Hi, how's it going?
It's going good. So tell me, you got a popular booth here.
We do. We stay busy.
And so what do you think makes the booth so popular? Is it the flowers? Is it the vegetables? So tell me what all it is.
Yeah, so we have a mix of flowers and vegetables. So a lot of people come for the flowers and just the good vibes.
And so this is all in Athens. And who runs Diamond Hill Farms?
It's owned by Carter Dodd. He's the head farmer.
And so is it just one big farm? He runs it all by himself? Or?
So we actually have a split farm. Our flowers are in one field and our veggies are in another field.
And I guess, the selection changes as the seasons change, correct?
Yeah, so right now we have our mixed bouquets with marigolds, and we have dahlias in season right now, and also some zinnias.
Cool. And so, did you guys participate in the CSA over in Athens, the community supported agriculture, right?
Yes. So we have both a flower CSA and then we have our veggie CSA. And you can also add eggs in addition to your veggies.
No, to make sure viewers know, CSA is where you can sign up and get a box of food every week, right?
Yes. So we specially pick our vegetables for our CSAs, and then whatever we have left is what we bring to market.
And so what all have you had here in the market besides the groovy, tasty okra?
We started off with some tomatoes, but we've sold out of tomatoes so far. We've got bell peppers, we have jalapenos, banana peppers, Jimmy Nardellos, and then we also have shishitos and fairy tale eggplants.
And so are you guys here every Sunday?
We're here every Sunday, and what we bring varies every week, so you just have to come check it out to find out what we have.
And you got several different farmers markets that you're part of, right?
Yes, we're also at Peachtree Road in Atlanta, and we have 2 in Athens as well.
So you got 2 in Atlanta and 2 in Athens?
Yes.
And the website is diamondhillfarmathens.com?
Yes, and sorry, actually I forgot one of our Atlanta. We are also at Freedom Farmers Market.
Freedom, okay, yeah, with the Carter Center. And so every week, right?
Every week, yep.
Cool. And diamondhillfarmathens.com, right? That's what it says here on the flyer.
Okay, yeah.
I always catch people off guard. But so diamondhillfarm.com, diamondhillfarmathens.com, and I guess there you can find the CSA information and also the vending information, correct?
Yes, and then you can follow us on Instagram for updates on all of the stuff we're bringing each week to market.
Do you have a favorite flower or favorite
definitely the dahlias over here.
The dahlias, yeah, those are nice and pretty. They kind of look like marigolds in a way.
Those are marigolds.
Oh,
the
these are
dahlias
marigolds.
actually back here.
So the dahlias are, yeah, those are dahlias for sure. Yeah, those are real pretty.
We sold out of all our squash. Oh, I'm so sorry.
All the squash is gone. There was squash in here, and it looked lovely, guys. And but we got the red onions and the peppers, and grow your own garlic too. That's not bad. And
we still have tons of okra. We're getting low on our fairy tale.
Oh yeah, I like the little eggplants here. These are like,
yes, they're so cute.
Little fairy tale eggplants, and you can make some really good Thai dishes with that.
Yeah.
And,
so we have sweet potato greens. A lot of people don't know that you can actually eat sweet potato greens. You kind of use them like you would use spinach. So you can saute them like spinach.
I also tried Brussels sprout greens and radish greens as well.
Yeah, there's tons of greens you can eat.
Yeah, greens are really, really good. And nice, good, different textures and all that. Have you tried the sweet potato greens?
Yeah, I like to put them in my eggs.
And how would you compare it?
I'm the worst at describing the different greens.
But you said a lot like spinach.
It just, it just tastes like greens.
And also too, I mean, if you wanted to further support Diamond Hill Farms, you can get some merch, right? A little bit of merchandise there.
Yes, we have super cute tote bags. These are all designed by one of the people that works at our farm.
Well, awesome. Well, Megan McDonald, thank you so much for taking your time and chatting with me about what you guys have here. And you guys are here every week. So if you miss out and you want to check it out, come down here and on a Sunday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and you can check out the Grant Park Farmers Market and also Diamond Hill Farms, which is right next to the Rosemary and Thyme Creamery stand. And also you can get some eggs. So you can get some eggs, some cheese, and some veggies, and some flowers, and you're all set for the weekend. Jasmine, I'll kick it back to you.
All right, Eli, that sounds awesome. Eggs, cheese. I loved seeing that okra. Absolutely love okra. That was beautiful. But I need to make my way out there. There's the okra right there. So beautiful. I love rainbow fruits and vegetables. So important to eat the rainbow. All right, Eli, thanks. We'll check in with you one more time. Let's take a look at this funny story here. Take a look at this cute story dealing with corgis. So on your mark, it's set, and then there go the corgis. So cute. So Welsh corgis, to be exact, took part in this corgi race yesterday. in Vilnius, Lithuania. And look at that. That is too precious. It's the 5th time the race has been held in the Lithuanian capital. The breed of corgis are widely known for their association with the British royal family. But what you may not know is the corgis are also known for their tireless racing skills. More than 120 teams from across Europe competed in 7 categories, including the cutest and the fluffiest. So their little legs are so cute. And let's take a look at this dog really quickly. You may say this little doggy has a face only a mother could love. In Santa Rosa, California, a pug named Jenny Lou has won the 50th annual World's Ugliest Dog. This competition's kind of mean, you know. Her owner, though, Michelle Grady, went home with a $5,000 prize. Jenny Lou, the pup, was rescued from the mountains of South Korea before being adopted and brought to California. So she has had a journey. The other contestants came from as far away as Poland. The annual competition is carried out to call attention to the benefits of adopting rescue dogs. Very important to adopt the rescue dogs, and that dog is cute. He's not ugly, or she's not ugly there, Jenny Lou. All right, time is 11:58. We're back with a look at your forecast right after this. Welcome back to our news conversation here on Fox Local. It's noon. Let's talk weather. It's hot outside. Our meteorologist, Alex Forbes, is here to tell you about that heat.
It was hot this morning, right? Walking outside at 4:30, and you're just, it's sweltery, and then the sun comes out, and the temperatures start going up. Now we're getting some clouds to form as we look live up in Forsyth County. This is on Brookwood Road at one of the fire stations there. It's usually one of our best sunrise cameras, which is why I've got it pulled up. Let's talk about the forecast here. Another day of heat index values 100 plus. In fact, we're going to look at those numbers here in a second. We're already over that mark at many locations. It will be a drier start to the work and school week this upcoming one than we saw last week, and we are continuing to track hurricane, now tropical storm, Lala over Hawaii. And yes, that is the name of the storm. That's not a typo. We didn't make it up. That is what the National Hurricane Center had on their list, and so that is the L-named storm. It is 92 now in Atlanta, 88 in Canton, 89 in Gainesville, 84 in Blairsville, 92 in Athens, 93 in Eatonton. But we are not seeing any shower and storm activity just yet, but look at this. 100 is your heat index now in Atlanta, 100 in Rome, 95 in Canton, 99 in Gainesville, 104 in Athens, 108 Eatonton, 97 in Thomaston. Because of that, we have a heat advisory today. It goes until 8 tomorrow, actually, so it's in effect today, stays in effect through the overnight, and then goes into tomorrow at until 8 p.m. for most of North Georgia. Technically Northeast Georgia not included in that, but it's still going to be hot up there. You're sitting just shy of the heat advisory criteria. So plenty of water, beverages with electrolytes, Powerade, Gatorade, body armor, all the aids. Good idea. Lightweight, loose-fitting, light-colored clothing. I used to say, you can say that or try saying that 5 times fast, then I mastered it. Right? I've been saying it so much this summer that it's still a good,
loose-fitting, light-colored clothing.
Yeah, it's kind of like an alliteration with the L's there. Anyway, dry fit stuff, good idea. Regular breaks in the shade, and then the sunscreen also a good idea today. And we are going to stay hot. 98 for Monday, 95 Tuesday and Wednesday, 96 for Thursday and for Friday before we break out the parkas into next weekend and cool all the way down to 90, which will still be above the norm because our average highs are beginning to fall. So out the door today, a scorcher, no doubt, across the metro area. Expecting mostly clear skies to hang on. 96 in Gainesville today, 98 in Athens, 97 over in Eatonton. And rain chances relatively low, 20%. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 0% there on Wednesday. And then we get somewhat of a disorganized system for Thursday and Friday. Tomorrow's rain chance at 20%. I still think that's a good number in terms of a forecast, but we happen to squeeze out a storm tomorrow. There is the chances on the stronger side. We are clipped by level 2 across far northern Georgia, but nothing I'm losing any sleep over.
All right, Alex, thanks so much for joining us to talk about this, and even Lala, which is now a tropical storm.
Yeah, so it's in the Hawaii area in terms of the impacts right now, although it did not actually make landfall in Hawaii, but flash flooding has been an ongoing problem out there, and it continues to be a problem even now at this hour. So you're looking at video here of some of the wind and impacts that we've seen mainly on the Big Island, but the storm itself actually passed the Big Island down to the south. And if we go back over here to graphic 7, I can kind of show you what's going on here. I'm going to do a lapse of the last 6 hours, and you're going to see how really the mountains of Hawaii have kind of torn this storm apart. The center is kind of right in this region, so it's moving kind of like this, and it was still the impactful side of the storm that went over these islands. So we do have now a flash flood warning in effect for Hawaii County and the Big Island. It goes until 1 Eastern, and then a new flash flood warning has been issued in the last little bit. That is for Waikiki and Honolulu up there. So an impactful storm, even though it didn't make landfall. Remember, it's out really far away from the contiguous United States, from Los Angeles, right? This is some 2,500 miles away, and the storm's going to be history for the island of Hawaii. And obviously, there's not exactly much in its path out here in the days to come. This will be the last time it impacts the land.
All right, Alex, thanks so much for joining us to talk about weather here and the storm Lala.
Yep.
Okay, guys, let's take a look at the situation out in Indiana now. Here is a look at video. You see flooding there. Authorities in that area say several people have died over the past several days as a result of severe storms and flooding. Flood warnings do remain in effect across the state. Now, Indiana has been hit hard by heavy rainfall that's sent rivers to record levels and forced residents to go to higher ground. More than a dozen counties have declared disasters. The National Weather Service reported more than 11 inches of rain fell over a 2-day period in some places. So, of course, our thoughts and prayers are with those in Indiana and Hawaii. Back here in Atlanta, the parents of an 18-year-old whose body was recovered near Mississippi's Horn Island brought their plea for justice right here to the city. They were joined by their attorney, Ben Crump, and Reverend Al Sharpton at the National Association of Black Journalists Convention in Atlanta. They called for full and transparent federal investigation into Nolan's death following his disappearance during a trip with friends on the 4th of July. Let's take a listen.
You want to believe that this is a child, that everybody's going to do their level best to find out what happened so these broken-hearted parents will know what happened to their child.
Again, there you just listened to Reverend Al Sharpton. Ben Crump was there, and Nolan Wells' family at NABJ here in Atlanta. And now another new development, that is. TMZ reports that Wells' family says they're ready to examine his phone but they're waiting for the district attorney to set a date. And I know there was a lot of talk surrounding the phone in this case. Some reports saying that footage was deleted from Nolan Wells' phone. So it's very important that the family gets to review this phone, as it is potential evidence here in this case. Time is at 12:07. Let's talk about what Fox 5 is working on today. These are the stories that we're following up on, and stories that you could possibly see in our newscasts later this afternoon. Let's bring in our assignment desk editor, Sasha Stevens. Sasha, thanks for joining us to talk about these stories.
Good afternoon, Jasmine. Our first story is going to be out of Loganville. Loganville police tell us they responded to a vehicle accident on Georgia Highway 81 near Tara Commons Drive Saturday. The at-fault driver fled the scene, with a witness stating that he fired shots while doing so. The Walton County Sheriff's Office responded along with Loganville police. They even brought out the K-9 team, but they couldn't find the suspect. Officers on scene also couldn't confirm if the reports of fired shots was actually accurate. Luckily, the occupants of the other vehicle, they only suffered minor injuries. And new information just emailed over to us from Loganville police say that they have identified the driver as Jacob Connell. They have put out arrest warrants, have been filed for the following charges: failure to maintain lane, hit and run, possession of marijuana, and possession of cocaine. So Connell is still not in custody, but police are asking that anyone with any information about his whereabouts or the incident to call 911.
All right, Sasha, thanks for giving us an update on that story out of Loganville. The story out of LaGrange is pretty bizarre here, dealing with an official.
Yeah, very strange story. LaGrange City Council member Marquavius Bodie, you see there on your screen, resigned after pleading guilty to public indecency and obstruction charges. Court records that we have said that Bodie exposed himself in an office at the LaGrange College back in February and lied to a GBI investigator about the incident when questioned. LaGrange mayor sent over a statement to us saying that Bodie's resignation on Saturday, stating it was effective immediately. Bodie was appointed to the LaGrange City Council back in 2023, serving the city's District 2. We have learned that Bodie has been sentenced to 2 years of probation for this incident. So what we don't know yet, Jasmine, is when city officials will announce plans on filling Bodie's vacant seat. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that.
All right, sounds good, Sasha. And then we are looking into two shootings that happened last night in the Metro Atlanta area.
Correct. The first shooting was out of Atlanta. An investigation is underway as a person was shot on the 2000 block of Martin Luther King Jr. Drive yesterday. Atlanta police tell us a man was shot and drove himself to the hospital. That man is currently alert, breathing, and conscious. No suspect has been found in that case. The next shooting we have is out of Clayton County. This one also happened yesterday. Clayton police tell us they responded to the 400 block of Sylvia Drive in Forest Park in reference to a person shot. When they arrived, they found a 26-year-old man suffering from a gunshot wound to the leg. That man was transported to the local hospital for treatment. He also had non-life-threatening injuries. The circumstances surrounding that shooting are still being investigated as well. So 2 different shootings, 2 different counties. Police are still investigating. No suspects in custody yet.
All right, Sasha, thanks so much for joining us to talk about these stories. We'll let you get back to work. All right, our time here is 12:11. We're back with more news right after this. National Roller Coaster Day, if you did not know, and Dollywood is taking guests on an adventure unlike anything they've ever experienced. Night Flight Expedition launches this week, this new attraction, and Ellen Liston, Dollywood's public relations manager, joins us live to talk about all the fun. Thanks so much for joining us from Dollywood, bringing some positive energy to the stream.
Yeah, we are so excited to have the ride getting ready to open. We announced it last fall, and actually I'm standing in the queue line at Night Flight Expedition. Very shortly, people are going to be lining up for their chance to ride this morning. We're having a special season pass holder preview and really excited for folks to experience this ride.
Oh my goodness, this is so exciting. So first, tell us, what can people expect, without giving us too much details here, what can people expect when they experience this new attraction?
Well, I think that's the fun of it. We want you to expect the unexpected, because if you feel like you're going to go on a roller coaster, you are. If you feel like you're going to go on a water ride, you might be doing that too. If you feel like you want maybe several different experiences in one ride, you're going to get 4. You're going to feel like you're in the nighttime sky here in the Great Smoky Mountains. You're going to soar through the clouds. You might take a little whitewater adventure. Then you're going to go through the Smokies themselves, and what we really want to find is Secret Lake, and I'm hoping everybody's going to find that at the end. It's also more than a 5-minute ride experience, which is very exciting. And, you know, we've been having a little heat up here in the mountains, but you're inside in the cool the whole time. It's completely indoors. So that is something that is going to be fun, whether you're coming the end of this week to experience it for the first time, whether you come this fall, or even at Christmas, you're still going to feel like it's kind of summertime in the Smokies.
Oh my goodness, so many questions to ask here about this ride. First, let's talk about the water. More than 500,000 gallons. How do you convince someone that they're going on a roller coaster and a whitewater adventure at the same time?
Well, that's part of the secret and the fun of this ride, that we're kind of keeping a mystery until people experience it, because you are going to get in your roller coaster car, for lack of a better word, in the vehicle you're in. So first you're going to soar through the Smokies, and you're never going to leave that vehicle and still take kind of a whitewater rapids adventure. Then you're going to go back to a coaster experience. So it's just part of the magic that Dolly brings to everything at Dollywood. Leave it to Dolly to dream up something like that, right?
Absolutely. And so where do you see Dolly's fingerprints on this ride here?
You know, anytime we do something, Dolly is called our dreamer in chief, which is, I think, the greatest title you could ever have. And whenever we look at, here's what we'd love to do, she kind of brings the creativity to the having it here in the Smoky Mountains. Obviously, she remembers as a child all the fireflies and the sounds of the Smokies at night, and how it was such an adventure, but it was never anything really to be scared of. It was just to be embraced, the nature of the Smokies at night, which is different than during the daytime. So that's kind of where the story started. And also, she loves it when things are very unexpected. So you're going to have a little of that in this ride. Like I said, you just got to come and try and figure it out for yourself.
And there's a whole mystery behind Cora, Jasper, and the search for Secret Lake. So can you tell us a little bit about these characters and why it was important to bring this storyline into the ride?
So Cora and Jasper have a lot of workshops here where we have Night Flight Expedition. One of them is right behind me. The bioluminator, you can kind of see it behind me, is what they kind of are using to see if they can find Secret Lake. And they have been spending a lot of time trying to figure all that out. And I think they probably actually did that now. Again, they've got some surprises for you, so you're going to have to come check it out. And you know what? It's a great drive from the Atlanta area. It's pretty scenery once you get here. It's not a hard drive to make. It is a great getaway experience. Or if you want to come for the whole week, so much to do here in the Great Smoky Mountains area.
Oh my goodness. And speaking of the Smokies, and you did mention that this ride is in a temperature controlled building. So why did you all decide to do that? Was it the temperature in the old Smokies or in the Smokies?
I think sometimes we do, we're experiencing some heat right now, but it's one of those things that it's kind of a weather resistant ride. So, if we have some rain or it gets cold, this ride is still going to be able to operate. And in the theme park industry, it's what's called a dark ride because you're all inside. And we have one dark ride, but it's not a big ride. And so we wanted this to be the latest experience, the newest technology. We really try to listen to our guests. And this is something that frequent visitors to Dollywood, especially people who love roller coasters, wanted to see. And so we're excited to be able to deliver on that with Night Flight Expedition.
And one more question about the new attraction here. After all the planning, engineering, and storytelling, what's the moment on the ride that still makes you smile every time you experience it?
I think it's the combination of what happens on the ride and then kind of the finish where to our riders, Secret Lake is not as much of a secret anymore because they figured it out. And I think to me, though, the most exciting part is always when people have experienced the ride and are so amazed at all the different things that they got to do. And you know what? You've got an open invitation. Come and see me and you can experience it for yourself.
Sounds good, Ellen. One more time, tell us when you all are launching it. I know this coming week you all are launching it, but when the public, people here in Atlanta, can go to Dollywood and enjoy this ride.
Well, it's a great thing for you to do this weekend. We're opening at the end of the week, and for everyone that comes, we're excited for folks to be here. If you want a little bit more information for the ride, just go to Dollywood.com and check it out.
All right, Ellen, thanks so much for joining us to talk about this. I'm excited. This sounds like an entire incredible adventure. So thanks so much for joining us to talk about this.
Thank you.
All right, some good words there from Ellen with Dollywood. I mean, that looks like a fun vacation. I'm going to put that on my calendar to travel there. All right, let's talk about back to school for college students. Thousands of incoming Georgia Tech students moved into their dorms yesterday. The school says more than 6,000 students arrived on campus for the annual move-in day tradition. And this is the first move-in day. The university officially opened the new Bud and Val Peterson Residence Hall. So there you're taking a look at all the incoming students. The 8-story building has 862 beds, marking the school's first new traditional residence hall in 6 decades. Movers were on hand to make the transition as smooth as possible.
Obviously, there's anxiety from the parents and the students, and what we've been trying to do is make sure that we don't amplify that anxiety. And so once the families have a good experience, when they come to us here, I mean, you see that the peace as the parents walk off, that they know that their kids are in good hands with us.
It's exciting seeing all these young people. The volunteers have a lot of energy. It's makes you feel really good as a parent and as a student.
Oh my goodness. I remember when I was moving into college and even helping students, incoming students, first-year students move into college. Such a special day. The first day of classes for the fall semester is Monday, August 24th. So good luck to all those students. Moving now to Athens, freshmen at the University of Georgia kicked off the new year with the iconic G formation at Sanford Stadium. Take a look at that. This is pretty cool here. The fall UGA welcomed 6,250 first-year students. More than 80% of the class of 2030 are Georgia residents. The class includes students from 460 Georgia high schools and 143 of Georgia's 159 counties. Students also come from 43 states and the District of Columbia, along with 23 nations. And there's the cheerleaders. All right, time is 12:21. Good luck to all those students this upcoming school year. We'll be right back with more. Welcome back to our news conversation here on Fox Local, a little different from your traditional broadcast show. So thanks for joining us, and thanks for participating in this conversation if you have been. Let's get out to our Eli Jordan. He's at the Grant Park Farmers Market, which is bringing some fresh flavors to town. He showed us some okra in the last hit. So Eli, I wonder if this is wrapping up now. What's going on?
Yeah, it's starting to wrap up. They would go from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. But I wanted to, kind of give everybody an idea where we're at. If you go to Grant Park proper, if you go to the park, you're not going to find this market. You got to go down to Grant Street. This is Grant Park Farmers Market, as in Grant Park, the neighborhood. So you don't go down the 1030 Grant Street, and right back there, that's the belt line right there. And then if you come, bebopping down the street, find a parking spot, which is kind of hard to do because it's popular here. Come walking up, and then you're like, oh, look, there's bubbles. And so you got to, walk through the bubbles, and you're like, oh, this must be the Grant Park Farmers Market by the Community Farmers Market. Now, Community Farmer Market, they have a bunch of different farmers markets all around the city, and about 4 different ones, Decatur, and this one, and then there's another one I can't think of. But they got all sorts of stuff. You can use your SNAP and EBT benefits here because this is all locally produced food, produce, all that good stuff. They even have a nice little light band here. They were playing My Cherie Amour earlier, and it was one of the most loveliest things I've ever heard. And it was very tasteful. I dug it. And you got plants here, and they're out here every Sunday throughout the entire year, except for the last 2, except for the tail end of the year. And that's when it's cold. But, if you missed it today, you can come out here next Sunday, find these vendors. There's like a waiting list, too. So you'll find a lot of the same vendors. They're out here today, probably most 100% the same vendors. And every Sunday from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m., come out to the Grant Park Farmers Market at 1030 Grant Street. It's not at the Grant Park. It's in the Grant Park neighborhood at 1030 Grant Street, close to the Beltline. So if you're walking the Beltline next Sunday, drop off on Grant Street, walk down here and get yourself some good tasty foods, all locally grown, made, and you can also get some good natural soaps and stuff here. And like I said, you can spend your SNAP, EBT if you're on those benefits. There's welcome here at many of the booths, and then come down here. Get yourself some good food to take home, find some CSAs so you can get on the list and have food delivered to your house every week. And then come down here to the food market right here, and they got lots of good food. But this is every Sunday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., Grant Park Farmers Market, 1030 Grant Street. Jasmine, I'll kick it back to you.
All right, Eli, that looks very good. The food is making me hungry. So thanks so much for showing us that there at Grant Park. At the farmers market there. Our time is 12:28. Thanks so much for joining this news conversation. Our news continues later this afternoon.